Mike.
I think Bob's messed up, not us. I'm speaking very clearly.
Meeting was started late.
I'd like to open the planning board meeting for November 23rd, 7 o'clock. Members present, Bob Reed, John Cronin, acting town planner, Dave Pichette, Michael Fitzgerald, and Michelle Fernandez. And I'm Mike Baptiste. George Barrett will be a little bit later. First order of business, Chapter 91 license. John Bennett, signature needed for planning board, that as chair. George, take care of that. Next, discussion, Chris Gabriel. Step up to the podium, it's your name for the mic, and state your business.
State your business.
Good evening. Christopher Gabriel, 2512 Cranberry Highway. And we were asked for this time so we could have a discussion on an article that we had put in October 2014 town meeting for additional filling station in the town of Wareham. And the vote was 85 for and 70 against. And I believe we had 2 out of the 4 boards on our side. And I see a need for safety and tax dollars. And that's why we're here, for a discussion and to see if we can get this on the agenda again in about a month. You guys could table it and have us come back and just hash it out. See if, you know, we're not going to get this done without your support.
Is the article going to be the same as it was last year?
I would like to do, it'll be 2 years in October. In July, we can go for a variance, and then I figured if we failed, that in October, we'd try it. But I don't even want to attempt this if I can't get your approval. I really see a need, not all over the place. You know, the article will be different. People had got a blog, went online, and had said that, Mr. Gabriel, if you opened up the article to more players, we would support your article. One had said that I'm trying to mold this to suit my needs, but that may be true, but I believe that every business in Denver, they put zoning and planning in place for the, so they can have their project. But that's not the only thing. I mean, I've been there 31 years. I see at least 10 people a day from the YMCA that leave the YMCA, and they head north, and they won't even attempt to go into the mobile station. They're hard to get in and out of there. And I really feel that if we had a station on the north or east side of 28, it would stop a lot of left-hand turns. I have spoken, and I would not mislead you. I know that, I have spoken to 2 or 3 different state officials, and they won't give me a letter, but they do say, yeah, there is a need for one. You leave East Wareham from Home Depot, there's not a filling station on the right-hand side for almost 5 miles, especially with 195 and 495 is a juncture on 28. And, people get off, and, I mean, we all see this. I brought my phone to show you some of the pictures that they see one station. With Rosebrook and Walmart and all the development, it's going to increase. And, I just really see a need for this. And, I'm willing to give it one more shot, but I got to say, I'm not going to get this done without your approval. Tax dollars, safety and tax dollars are really the number one. The last town meeting, I believe Mr. Sullivan had mentioned that, there's not a gas station in Wareham that's open for 24 hours. Remember, we're right across from the police station. My particular property is deep enough, 210 feet, where you could put in a turning lane to control the traffic. I don't know if I should say this, but I had mentioned to the people who are no longer interested in the land, they may be, but I said, maybe we should donate some money to the school. And I didn't know how to bring it up. And they had said to me that, well, why don't we wait and see if we, they were going to donate substantial money to the schools. I mean, I don't know what else to say, you know, I just like to give this a try. We came close, we came really close. I feel that if we had your support, I almost think that the zoning board would be behind us too, if the planning board was for this.
You're looking to change, can I ask a question, Mr. Chairman?
Go ahead.
Are you looking to change that whole zone there again, that strip?
No.
Well, because and I'll ask you why, because I remember, I mean, it's a while ago,
7 years.
I was gonna say, when I was a selectman, this came up.
You were
and
great, yep.
We talked about it. That area, you couldn't have anything to do with a medical facility. Yet Rosebrook's right behind you with all kinds of medical facilities, so, I was in favor at that time of switching that back, as you recall, because it just didn't make sense to me that you couldn't have a medical facility, yet we just approved the big medical facility right behind you. No, let me finish.
Yep.
So,
Sorry.
so I guess my question to you is this: get your article rewritten and bring it back,
Yes.
and then we can have a real good discussion on what you wanna do. Because if all you're after is a filling station, then you need to make your article for that.
The bylaw, right,
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Then you're probably gonna stand a better chance going to zoning with it.
right, yes.
You're gonna try and change the whole zone.
No.
Well,
That- Go ahead, I'm
because
sorry.
You may have to do that. You know what I mean? They might not let you spot zone something. It might come to the point where they want the area switched, so you gotta be prepared both ways. So I would say to you, what I said to you 7 or 8 years ago, is have an attorney look at the wording of the article. That's my 2 cents to you.
I want to respond to that. That was a mistake trying to rezone all of that. I was uneducated, and it's hard for me to come up here and say this. You know, it was done for the better of the town. The people on Toby Road, they were just granted the strip commercial designation, and I was nothing but happy for them people. And it was appropriate, and I just sat back and watched, and it went good for them, and I'm glad, and it belongs there. I don't know if we have to change the zone. I thought we had to do like on the filling station would be like a bylaw. In other words, there's an ordinance that there's no more filling stations. Well, in 1972 there were 22 stations. There's been at least 11 that have closed since then. So this article is written to see if the selectmen would actually approve the underground storage tanks, and I'm assuming that, we had the 3-0-0 vote for that. Now I'm assuming if we got to that point that they would allow the underground tanks. The medical facility is just another bylaw that that would be a whole separate article. I just thought that ADM's been awful good to the town, and I don't want to give them any competition, but believe it or not, if the medical facility with a different article came about, I mean, now you're gonna have all us citizens, Hawthorne Medical might want to have a little walk-in clinic there, and all that is gonna do is give us better service. But that's a whole separate article. The filling I just want to see if the filling station, the ordinance could be allowed to maybe 1 or 2 more, and the criteria would be, a half a mile from the interstate or less. That way they're not popping up everywhere. And just think about it, John. People, you leave town every day. You go along by my area, and you take a right-hand turn in, you take a right-hand turn out. I got to tell you, every day I see 3 people in line trying to take a left-hand turn in. Both exits have 3 people, 3 cars deep. You got trucks, deliveries. Somebody's going to get hurt. Somebody's going to get, I just need your support, and we are going to take this, to the town meeting. I'm wondering if we could, with your approval, I think the zoning board, I may have a chance at at a variance, but that's in July, and then if it fails, we'll try it in October, and if it fails, I think that'll be my final. It's going to happen eventually, I really believe. I was watching them put a filling station in the other day, and unbelievable, the cork material, the double-walled tanks, they have these foxhole type holding tanks underneath the ground for any type of, if there's an emergency.
How about the selectmen? Have you approached them lately?
I have.
About these storage tanks?
Yes, well, not the storage tank. Mr. Tropiano, we're very lucky to have him. 2014 town meeting, and I had said this to him, he acted like we were trying to put in a nuclear power plant. And I couldn't get up. I froze again. I didn't know, someone to give me their minutes to get up and speak. And you know, Mr. Tropiano had told me that we could take this to the town, town meeting this October. But I wanted to work with the board instead of trying to force it through, and that's what this is all about. I'd like to see you people table this, and we'll come back. I'll come back with my attorney in a month or two, and I'm just trying to do it the right way, do the process. Do you really think I'm not looking for spot zoning? I'm just looking for a bylaw change for the ordinance against filling stations.
Well, that's what I say, all right, so you're gonna have to have something written. If you wanna
Yes.
do it a half mile from the highway, that's gonna be considered a spot zone.
A half mile? Well, I'm doing that to protect the town. I'd say a mile, but we really don't need stations all over town. But in my particular area, we need one there. You people are gonna see that. I'm gonna look at the the traffic records, next time we meet, and I've spoken to a couple of policemen. They seem to think it's a good idea. Guys, it's only gonna get busier. And there's one station there. And, I don't wanna say anything bad, but down there now, they're not selling cigarettes right now down the street, but, we're not all happy with that. I gotta be careful, I'm not really on top of what I should say and how I should say it. My attorney was gonna be here this evening, but, one of the selectmen told me this meeting was canceled, so I called them off. These guys aren't cheap. I've had a lot of time with these attorneys. So anyway, I told him there's no meeting tonight, so that's why he's not here tonight. But, I really see a need, guys, and, I can't talk you into it, but, tax dollars. I think a filling station is about $24,000 a year in taxes, with no impact on the school.
You can write it up and see it,
Right.
Well,
get it written up.
Yeah, get your attorney or whatever, and come back and see us again, and we'll see if we can come to some common language, and give you some support.
But could you people also work on some of the things that you want to see in that article? Is that how it works? Do you have time to talk about, what you would like to see in the article? Do you remember, you have the last article it was 2014. And it said, on at least an acre of land, and I think it was 2,000 feet from the interstate, and I said, well, let's open it up a little bit. But I don't think it's spot zoning, John, because it's more of a bylaw.
Well, all right, Mr. Chris, I guess my point was the article failed.
Yes, sir.
Rewrite it the way
Right.
you want it. Take the zoning for what's there now,
To what we want.
for what you want, for what you wanna make your article, and then have it rewritten and bring it in and we can discuss it. Then we can open up the zoning book to what's in there and what isn't in there
Okay?
and see what happens. I myself still think that area should be allowed to have a medical facility, if someone wanted one.
That's a different article, sir.
I'm just saying to
Yes,
you,
sir.
that strip of land up from the highway down towards,
Yes.
up and down towards.
Yeah, there's
my
no
house.
reason why that shouldn't be there.
That's just my opinion, I'm one.
Well, we all see the.
Actually, I got booed at town meeting for it,
No,
so,
not on that.
I'm just, well, it didn't help, but the point is, I still think you need to get it written properly for what you wanna do there.
Okay.
Then we can discuss it a lot better with the zoning book. If it's just a filling station, then write it up that
That's
way,
what-
and
right.
then we'll go from there.
I would like either you folks, or I'll get, there's a lot to it, I would like to have another article for the medical facility. I really would, but I'm really going for the filling station because I see a need, someone's gonna get killed going in and out of that station. There was October 6th, 8 o'clock in the morning, lady left the YMCA, going to, and she pulled into the gas station, the 5-star gas station, a truck coming down, southbound, the sun in his eyes, boom, head-on collision, little 5-year-old girl on the side of the road there, she was okay, but very shook up. If we had a station on the right-hand side, that doesn't happen.
well, just to be
Go right ahead.
foreign here, I voted against it at the town meeting, and I
It's okay.
still, I'm not in favor of it. I don't think you really need one in that area. You can stand there and you look right and you look left and there's a gas station either way. And I think the argument that was presented earlier was people coming off the highway and going to Walmart, need to get gas. Well, they're actually going the other way, and there are a lot of gas stations on the north side on there. I think the location is a concern because the road goes from 4 lanes down to 2 in that area. And now you get more people coming in and out of there, and you get a fair amount of traffic coming in and out on the filling station. And I think people coming off the highway and driving into Wareham, first thing they're gonna see is 3 gas stations. And of course, you've got the question of anytime you put in a gas station, there's always a potential environmental issue. So personally, I would not support putting a gas station in there.
Could I have a rebuttal on that, sir?
Sure. Oh, yeah.
You know, when you leave town, I believe you're retired, but if you leave town and you need gas or a cup of coffee or you sit right beyond me and take a left-hand turn there into that station,
No,
you're gonna take your life. Well, I'll be honest with you. A lot of people that go by. Let me tell you another thing it's gonna do. You have a lot of traffic going by Deacon's School. They're avoiding me because of the lights. But if you had a station on the right-hand side over there, they may say, well, let me go up that way and get my gas right hand in and right hand out and continue on out of town. You can't in my parking lot when you go out, you see the mobile station. You can't see that other gas station.
it's right down the street.
You can't see it. And have you been in there, sir?
Yes,
You like the way it's run?
I buy gas there.
Oh, you
Yes,
do?
I do.
Yeah. Well, they only have regular.
Yeah,
They're
that's
not
good
open.
with
They
me.
close at 9 o'clock at night. And they sell an awful lot of merchandise other than gasoline, sir. And you know, they're about a half a mile from the school.
Well, I have no
No,
problem
that's
buying
fine.
gas there. and I-
You don't? Oh,
So
well,
don't I don't.
well, sir, all due respect, open your eyes and look around and see what else is in there.
Oh, Mr. Gabriel, rewrite it the way you want it to word and come back with your attorney and we'll sit down and we'll talk.
Thank you so much. I can't ask you for more. Thank you. So we'll do that. I will write it up and.
Yep.
Would it be beneficial if I showed you the other article, or no, not at this time?
No, not at this time.
Okay, could I get a date for the next visit? That way I can get my attorney to work on it? I mean, it could be in 2 months. We're in no rush. I want to do the process the right way.
January dates. We got January 11th and January 25th.
We'll do January, what is it now? It is, we'll do January 25th, sir.
Okay.
That'll be good, and we'll,
Put you on the agenda for 7 o'clock? Okay,
January
wait.
25th?
Yeah.
Now, you don't want to give me anything that you think you guys would like to see, or you want to adjust it from that point?
No, we're pretty reasonable people.
You're a good guy. No, that's good. That's wonderful. I really appreciate this, guys. I really think this is a safety issue. Someone is going to get hurt. Mr. I don't know, Mr. Reed? Later on, I'd like to show you some pictures here.
Okay. But right now, we have to do, yeah, all right.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, we all done?
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Happy Thanksgiving, guys.
You too.
This isn't as easy as it looks.
None of it is, believe me.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah. Okay, next thing on the agenda, we have a letter for Clean Energy Collective Solar Project.
I didn't see the letter.
We get any information on that, Dave? I don't see any letter in my packet either.
No.
Yeah, I have it in the documents to be signed here. Basically, all this involved was, there's a company that's working on this solar project that's already been permitted, the Tyhonet East Solar Project. And their banks are requiring them to get something from the town stating that there's no current development on the site from previous subdivisions or anything like that that have been approved on this overall property.
Is that the one up in the Makepeace property in
Yeah,
the old
that's
airport?
It's on the main line.
Yep.
This is the picture of the site right there.
That's the one where they took 500,000 yards of sand out,
Mhm.
or they're in the process of.
This is just a quick statement. I talked to George about this. He seemed to be comfortable with it. It's not a complicated issue, really. They're just looking for some statement to say that there's been no construction on the property to this point.
Yeah, that sounds,
We have to wait for George to sign
George
it.
will sign.
We wait for George, sure.
Okay.
They wanna know if there's been any construction, or if they wanna know if we've had approved any plans for
any
construction.
plans for any other project or subdivision or
We don't know
anything?
about construction, but we could tell
Nothing.
whether
That-
there
that's
was
been
any approvals.
virgin land since, I think the Indians were on it last. Can we say that?
No.
I'm sorry.
That's what I'm just-
Okay, that takes care of that. Next thing on the agenda, discussion of Bay Point.
This is what you guys worked on, right, on the 16th?
Yeah. Did you,
I didn't print anything before I left home.
okay, that's what he sent today.
Yeah.
So. We have,
Mr. Reed, Dave, did you have any new documentation drafted up on that?
Mr. Reed has drafted some documents on this. Most recently, there was a revised version that he sent late this afternoon, which I do have copies of. Others didn't get it. This is for the site plan approval.
Change that at the end of the day.
Yeah, I had some comments
need a
that,
copy of that?
Yeah.
Mr. Rowley sent, that I incorporated,
Anybody
and
need
then
a
there were a
copy on
couple
your
of
mic,
things
Michelle?
yeah,
at the end.
That's the latest version.
Hot off the press.
I think that the only, there were some grammatical things, I think, and then section 29 was where the substantive issues were.
say it again.
How long did you meet?
I don't think, you didn't make any substantive changes, I don't think.
Yes, you did. Not good.
I do have a little bit of an issue with C on 29, but
We,
only because you've established, I think at least, you established the lot sizes, you established the setbacks, you established the fact that the golf course should not be impinging on any of the lots. The building inspector requires a foundation certification prior to issuing a full building permit. Which means that, as far as the satisfaction with respect to the location of the house will be set at that point, and assuming it's in conformance with the setbacks you determined. So, I guess you can require an as-built plan, but it seems to me that you've already covered that in that the landscaping is supposed to conform to whatever, is in the regulation which you've set forth, the conditions you've set forth. And it seems to me that, there's been an awful lot that's in this that isn't necessary. That's just my personal opinion.
in this
Well-
one, in this one section, Mr. Rowley?
Yeah, this particular one, I had looked over, most of the other things that were in there in the one which Bob had sent to me. That was really the only thing that I had a concern about, only because it seemed to be covered in other ways.
Mm-hmm.
I realized that under the special permit, you can write basically whatever conditions you feel are appropriate for both the single family and the duplexes.
Mm-hmm.
But I just wonder how much of it in the single families you wanna get involved in. There's gonna be a multitude of options that they will have. So long as they're in conformance with the options which are set forth in the plans, it seems to me that you should let it go at that.
Let me, my question to you initially was, other than 29, the rest were basically grammatical.
Oh, other than
Thanks.
29.
Yeah, okay, I was just,
I didn't have any particular issues other than that.
and on 29, my concern about the single-family lots is we have this provision that you're not supposed to use the single-family lots for the golf course. And currently, that's basically the effect of the design. That is, you've got sand traps on lots, you've got a green that actually touches a lot. You can't build the golf course and the lots the way they're configured now and have the golf course operation and the lots separate. It's not gonna happen. So they need a new configuration for the lots or the golf course or both for that area. And I think that we should take a look at that and see where are the lots gonna be and where's the golf course. And they're not gonna be able to line up the way they are now. That's my concern. I think that we need to see the overall plan and how the lots interact with the golf course. And that's what I was trying to get and see. And then I thought you did want an as-built plan for the landscaping and parking.
I did, but it was mostly for the duplexes and the multifamilies, because you don't have any detailed plans on any of those right now.
Yes, no, I thought in your comment that's what you said.
But I wasn't concerned about the single family, because if it was a standard subdivision, once you've approved that subdivision, and the house meets the setbacks, and it has the proper frontage, that's really all that you can concern yourself with. This is a special permit, so that you do have some latitude with what you say you will allow on the single family lots, and you've basically done that, in my view, with the landscaping and the setbacks, the driveways, which aren't to be one behind the other. That's all shown on the plan.
How do you address where the golf course is infringing on the lots now, based on the plans we have? I mean, I know you feel that possibly the single-family lots are well-defined and clear,
Well, at some point.
but the reality is they're not if you look at those pages.
That's no guarantee that something isn't gonna infringe later on. What it's gonna require is somebody's gonna have to inspect this if you wanna get to that amount of detail. And the only way that you can do that is to go out there and look at it. So it means that if the lot boundaries in the back need to be identified as to where they go, and then anything on the other side, that's golf course.
Will these lots all be bounded with markers?
You haven't said so at this point. The street will be, so that at some point in time, or any given point in time when the street is bounded, anyone could go in there and establish where the lot lines are. But you have not said to this point whether or not all the lots need to be bounded. One thing I would suggest to you is that bear in mind that you've got two different things that you're attempting to approve. One is the subdivision itself, which has some pretty strict limitations as to what you can approve, what you can't approve. Site plan is a different thing. But it's just my opinion that you've set the parameters under which they're supposed to operate. If you want to suggest that there needs to be an as-built, say, along the back boundary to show that there is no encroachment, I don't see any reason why you couldn't include that as a condition. But I'm not sure whether you need to have the entire landscaping and everything else done. You've already said what it should be, and it has to look like. And at some point in time, someone will have to go out there and basically evaluate it and see that everything has been done in accordance with the special permit that you've issued.
That was my... I thought that was on the single-family lot section.
Okay, you could have one as for the landscape purposes in the final parking if you wanted to. But I see no reason why you have to have a full site plan done at a particular point in time where, did you say you were gonna do it prior to the building permit? Or just afterwards as an as-built?
No, well,
The parking spaces you should be able to see.
I know, I was just taking that out of your comment. I mean, I
Okay.
just put it in there because that's what you had asked for.
I'll have to go back, I've got all the stuff with me.
Yeah.
Let me look at it and see.
Well, I don't really care. So I do think that we need to, the single-family lots and the golf course aren't compatible the way they're designed now, and I think we need to see a revised plans of the lots or the golf course or something, so that it's realistic that the people using the golf course aren't gonna end up infringing on the people who are living in the houses.
What I said here, Bob, with this, everything that's underlined here was what I responded to.
Yep.
And I said, this usually is not done for single-family homes, so
Right.
long as the required setbacks are observed and the golf course landscaping does not infringe on the individual lot lines. It's already an agreement on the homes having the required landscaping in accordance with the plan set. And I said I recommend an as-built for each one of the landscaping purposes and for the final parking. That the building inspector of the foundation certification
Right.
before issuing a building permit, so the setbacks will be known at that time.
Right.
So, but I don't think all this other has to be in there. I think it's just, it's unnecessary. I may not be fully clear on that, if you wanna chew it over, the rest of the board has their comments. But my only thought was, keep it to the extent that you need to have something as an as-built to show what it is that you want to verify in terms of the infringement on the golf course, or vice versa, that the golf course doesn't infringe on the lots. But everything else is pretty much cut and dried as to what you basically said that you wanted to see out of the condition.
So Charlie, you're saying on C, the first sentence, come up to, shall be varied by no case less than 20 feet, so you stop right there, and then you're saying, and you pick up, I recommend an as-built for each one of the landscaping purposes and for the final parking. The building inspector require foundation certification before issuing a building permit, so the setbacks also be known at this time. Is that
That was just a comment for your consideration. The way that Bob has written it up in C, I think that I would not necessarily, you see what he's got underlined?
Yes.
And then the last sentence, an as-built plan should be provided to the planning board showing landscaping, parking. I see nothing wrong with that.
Right.
So you could insert that right at the end where it says in no case less than 20 feet.
That's what I'm saying.
And,
I've got it
And not
crossed out, and
have all
I'm
the
moving
others.
that sentence up.
yeah.
So,
So your suggestion, Charlie, is get rid of all that fluff in between there.
yeah, I think,
Because
think
you've
what-
already got it in other ways
Okay.
throughout the conditions that you've established.
But you don't, because the two, I mean, fine, I mean, on lot 65, there's a lot line, and the green is right there. The green touches that lot. So it's fine, they can put up bounds and say, you know, this is the lot line, but realistically speaking, people are gonna be playing on that lot. They're gonna shoot, you know, they're gonna be walking around there, so you need to change the overall plan. I'm not talking about individual lots. I'm talking about the plan for the single-family houses and the plan for the golf course. Those are not compatible with the requirement that these lots are separate just for the individual use. And just saying we're gonna put up bounds when we know there are sand traps on some of the lots. I mean, you need a revised single-family lot or golf course design or both. And we should see that overall change before we start doing individual lots. That's what the language is designed. I mean, you can take out grading, parking, setbacks, landscaping if you want. That's fine. The lot lines, you know, where the building's gonna be and where's the golf course gonna be in relation to the single-family lots, that's the issue.
You don't think you've satisfied that in the next paragraph?
But we don't have plans that are gonna change that. Plans need to change. And we should see them. I mean, right now, they're required to complete the golf course as designed and the lots, and they're not compatible. So saying, this is what we want is one thing, but there's gonna be some changes, and we need to see those changes.
At this stage of the game, only way we can handle that is as a condition. We can't go and request a new set of plans at this stage of the game or where we're at right now, because the public hearing's closed.
Sure you can. You're requiring new plans for lots A and B, the big lots.
Couldn't we handle that as a condition, Charlie?
Well, it is a
It is a condition.
That's what this is.
It
Yeah.
is.
But the only thing that you'd be doing with an as-built would be getting information that shows what they ended up with.
Yeah,
I think what Bob is saying is he doesn't wanna get to that point before he sees plans that adjust this some other way.
But, Mr. Rowley, didn't you find that what he's saying is accurate, that some of the golf course infringed on some of the single-family resident lots?
If you look at the small scale plan, yeah, because what they did was the landscape architect produced those plans for the purpose of
As a
showing
layout-
what the
it's a
landscape
layover,
was going
right.
to be for the single family lot.
Right.
That's something that we asked for and which they gave us.
Mhm.
When they did that, however, the landscape architect superimposed one layer of documentation on top of the other, split a little bit. What you should be looking at is the larger scale plans that clearly show that the tees, the greens, and so forth are well outside the boundaries. They might be close, but they're outside the boundaries of the lots the way that they're shown in the larger scale plan. So, I don't think that you should hang your hat necessarily on the smaller ones that show that encroachment, because it was done for a different purpose. Is it a good plan? I think it could have been better, so that there was no inconsistency between the larger scale and the smaller scale.
Okay.
But I think the larger scale plans show you the detail that's there. That's my opinion on it.
And we can word this so that that is addressed.
I think you've said it.
Yeah, I think it is worded that way, if you read the paragraph.
Okay.
John, you're still over there in deep thought.
I'm trying to pick out of these two sentences that I've crossed out, what part of it we can leave in there for the single-family houses shall have a minimum side yard setback of 15 feet and a rear setback of 15 feet. Front setback shall be varied, but in no case less than 20 feet. And I understand what Bob is saying about those setbacks right there. You can't have the sand trap, you can't have the green, whatever on that lot. I'm trying to think how you word that without having all that written in there. Well, no, the next paragraph picks it up, I understand that.
Well, that talks about lots A and B.
Yeah, that's,
So
That's the problem we had from the whole beginning, is these plans.
perhaps you want to.
We don't know what we're looking at.
Add a sentence or something in there that is basically the same thing. It's the same thing. See, there's no encroachment of family lots are for the exclusive use of the individual lot owners.
Michelle, you can,
And
Paragraph includes
it's the use of any portion of lot A, B, or any single family lot.
it's there.
So it's in there,
Yeah.
it's already there.
Yep.
Charlie, I'm looking at their development plan, not the landscape plan. I have a sand trap on lot 38.
You're looking at old stuff.
Just
What you need to look at is the new stuff.
This is the final plan that we got from them.
That's existing. All of this stuff that's in gray is existing. That's gonna come out. You see things like that, it's in bold,
That's new.
that's new.
Yep.
That's old. That's all gonna come out.
Well, we haven't seen, then we don't, where are the,
They're making changes to, we don't
So,
have,
we still, we got.
Rules 11, I believe,
Yes, we do.
12, and 2.
there's the 16th
Mr.
green
Rowley.
right there is right on the lot.
Mr. Rowley, can you look at this for me for a second?
Sure.
And let me know if this is. Okay, so this set is the most recent set, correct?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. And
Yeah, you're concerned about some of these things.
Oh, well, actually that,
Well, these are contours,
right?
so you don't necessarily wanna be concerned about contour
No, I
lines.
know, but I'm looking at the green.
Well, again,
Yeah.
look at the scale of your plan. It's 200 feet to the inch.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
go to the larger scale for the same area. These are the subdivision plans that'll go into the registry.
Right. And then when we go to the landscaping plans, they get clouded again.
Like a motor, not that fast.
That's still under 200. That's not gonna show you anything. It's not gonna show you anything. And the only- That's still 1 to 200.
There's a green,
1 to 40. Yep.
okay? That's the green right there.
Mm-hmm.
It is right on the line, I agree,
Mhm.
but it's not encroaching.
Yeah, so how does
This-
someone who plays on this side of
I
the green
decipher.
not play in their backyard?
Well, what do you want for setback?
And more than that,
Well, how much? I mean, if you're gonna make these kind of changes, you need to spell it out.
Okay, another example was, this guy here.
That's
a
all
sand-
existing now.
That's a sand trap. That's
Anything
gonna-
that's,
gonna be moved,
anything that's
right?
shaded in a light
That's
gray
gonna
like
move.
that is existing stuff.
And that's 12 is being
This
revised.
is 12, that's being revised.
Correct.
Right.
so we don't
Here's your
have,
12th green, see? That's
Yeah.
all gone.
No, that's all
Yeah.
going.
we don't have a plan that shows the relationship between the proposed
Yeah, it's
golf
right here.
course and,
This is it.
so there's nothing, they're not, there's no golf course in here at all.
Yes, there is.
Well, where
It
is
may not, well, it may not be shown right here, it may be on another sheet.
Oh, okay. Do we have a plan that shows where the golf course is? Where the new golf course is?
Okay, this is further up. Might have been the overall sheet that showed it all.
And then we get into landscaping next, right? So, I guess Mr. Reed's question is have we seen a
I
plan
think you have. It may be better here.
showing the new layout?
Yeah, you gotta look for it, but it's there. Okay. This is number 12 here.
It's gonna become the 11th.
That's gonna be the 11th. So you've got a green that's close, but it's outside the lots because this
Right.
is your existing easement.
Correct.
That's a
Yep.
sewer easement. So
Mhm.
anything that's there is outside the limit of the houses
Mhm.
and the lot lines. So that's one of them right there.
It's not a question of whether it's a question of whether people playing the course are gonna end up on somebody's lawn, somebody's lot.
Well, I'm sure if somebody slices a ball or takes a
Well,
good
no,
hook,
no,
there
I'm
will
talking
be.
about
huh?
normal
But
play.
when you have, that kind of situation, there's gonna be a lot of people there.
Let's verify that that
There's a
is.
tee.
That's a new one.
This, again, this was done for the purpose of this landscaping.
Right, so it's not quite
So
as
what you
clear.
see out here is not necessarily what they intended for outside the limits of the landscaping. This
So-
was put together for that purpose.
So would it be?
I think it says landscaping there in the title.
L, it says L.
So they were looking at, driveways, you were looking at the trees and so forth that were gonna be in here, and there was landscaping in between the lots,
Mm.
and that was supplemented by the larger scale plans that showed the typical landscaping features. So that's what the purpose of this is. Now, the fact that there are these so-called encroachments here, again, I would not go by this.
Well, what
I
would
would
we
go by the larger scale plans that are back there in the set.
So could you show me this page in the set?
It's
'Cause
it's broken up a little bit.
I
Yeah,
haven't
we
been
can-
able to find
Let's,
it.
let's look at this piece of Beacon Street and see if we can see where that actually lies out.
And where it shows the 11th hole.
Okay,
I struggled to find that.
okay.
I think some of a lot of confusion, Charlie, is the print sets have been very inconsistent from the beginning. Changes have been made. We're always three
Keep
sets
on-
behind.
Keep on
it
going
seems
this way now. Here's Beacon Street. Here's the T that appears to be an
Yeah.
encroachment in that other plan. You can see it's well outside the limit of the lot.
Right.
But this is a much larger scale plan, so you get that detail. And the reason for this plan is different than the other plan. It was strictly the landscaping. That's why that was there. Now, this here, I believe that that's an old one. You've got a sand trap there. But again, if you're concerned about this, in my view, the way to deal with it is to say that there should be no features of the golf course that will infringe on the single-family lots at all.
No, I said,
Yeah, the 16th.
no, it's not a question of, like the green, it's not a question of does it infringe, it is the people gonna be playing and end up on those. And I don't know, do we have a definitive plan? I don't know what's going on down here, because they don't show that.
If we keep going, we'll see more.
All I wanted was a plan that puts the two together.
Previously, we couldn't do it.
We don't have the new stuff.
This is small.
And none of those show the golf course.
Mr. Rowley, you ever play golf?
Huh?
Ever play golf?
About 40 years ago.
Not
So-
chip and putt. This is real.
What you have to know is, most people
How did
aren't
that
very
work
I
good-
never played this one.
very good golfers, and a large percentage of them shoot their balls before the green, some smaller percentage typically on the green, and a large percentage over the green. So if that stays that way,
Oh,
that lot is really a public lot, because there's gonna be people on it all day long, and if you bought that house, would that be what you
well,
want?
right now, you're dealing with a set of plans the way that you see them. I really don't know what to say about it, because in my view, these kinds of discussions should have been item number one at the preliminary stage. Sort of set that up at the very beginning and not wait until now you're forced into making a decision.
The point where we're at right now, our hands are kind of tied. We're gonna have to make a decision on what we have and hope the verbiage covers, the conditions cover what we want done.
Why can't you say we need to see the house lots and we need to see the new changes, and we have to approve those, just like you're gonna approve the lots A and lot B. We wanted to make sure that the changes in that golf course aren't gonna be infringing, and we know 65 is gonna be infringing.
How are we gonna handle that, to get a print set in time that we have?
Doesn't have to be. I mean, as a condition, they would have to submit a plan showing that the correlation between those two for approval of the board, so that and they have to come back with that plan.
Well, condition A and B are worded that the plan for lot A shall be revised to reflect not more than 4 duplex units and 2 quadplex units with distances between the building of at least 40 feet and side and rear setbacks of 20 feet, and frontage setbacks of at least 40 feet. You're not gonna get a new plan. The plan that they're gonna develop to build it is gonna reflect that. They're not bringing you back another plan for that condition. And then B, the same thing. The plan shall be revised to reflect not more than what you put on for a condition. So they're gonna have to take a set of plans, revise it to build. They're not gonna bring a set of plans back. So in C, you do the same thing. The plan needs to be, shall be revised to reflect whatever it is that you're saying. And then the plan for the building permit will have to adhere to that condition. But at this point, you're not gonna get them to come back with a set of, you're not asking in A and B for a set of plans to come back for approval. You're asking for the plan to be revised to reflect what you told them to do.
It's gonna be
So,
done as an as-built.
and it's gonna be done like in an as-built.
Yes.
If they get caught, they'll be stuck because it's in the condition A and B. So in C, I would just recommend that we take Bob's concerns and Mike's concerns, and word it accordingly, as you do in the next paragraph. After C, the next paragraph has, I think, what you're after, but incorporate that next paragraph into item C.
Well, if we're not getting the plans on A and B, then we've got to specify things like guest parking. We require an appropriate amount of guest parking. We don't have a number. I assumed that we would get a revised plan and we would see where that is, and we don't
You
have that.
decided, I think you didn't need guest parking in a single-family house.
No, this is on the big lot, Lot A, and Lot B.
Isn't that covered under 29?
We don't have a number.
I'll say, include building location, grading, parking, setting down.
I mean, I'd rather see the plan. If they're gonna obviously develop a plan, there's no reason we can't see the plan ahead of time.
Yeah, well, you're asking for that up in 29. Final site plans, which shall include building locations, grading, parking, setbacks, dumpster locations, landscaping, and floor elevation shall be filed with the planning board for approval prior to the filing for any building permits
Right.
for these units. And then A and B, you're saying the plans need to be reflected to show that, so you're asking for it. So under 29, you're asking for the plan, so word C the way you want it, and put down, just like you did in A and B, that it shall be revised. They put the plan together, they gotta turn the plan in, and then you can take a look at it. That's all.
No, that's what I tried to do with the single families at the same time. That the first paragraph only relates to A and B, and doing the same thing for C.
Yes, sir, I'm agreeing with you, but the sentences are a little redundant. All I'm saying is you're asking for it, reword it a little bit. So you're asking, so under number 29, you're asking, floor elevation shall be filed with the planning board for approval prior to filing for any building permits. Then you get to C, and you're asking prior to the filing for any building permit, you know, that whole sentence, you're just repeating it again.
Well, that's because the first paragraph only relates to A and B.
We'll just add C to
And
that.
C, we're not doing the same thing because my understanding is we don't need grading plans and, you know, those things. You can change the first paragraph to include C.
What, well. All right, so. that would be chosen for they would be below. I guess you'd have to add a sentence in there that.
You just put in section C in the
It was
last
just
paragraph.
listed in C or.
I was just doing it in C because because it,
I think he's trying to keep
Easy to
it
put.
separate for under short floors with A and B.
but we don't need, as I understand it, grading, parking, setbacks, and landscaping.
You have that right out of the gate and see. You have the setbacks and stuff right there.
But on the plan, just saying on the plan, Charlie said really don't need grading in the single family. You don't need parking there, you don't need the setbacks because the building is.
Yeah, so 65 is the worst. For the 6 to a pure, this parking lot has to say that was gonna be filed with the planning board. For approval. Is that what you want?
Yeah, I just took that out. I just took those words out.
They're supposed to, they'll mark
That's what I'm trying to say. So
mark each lot, out of bounds.
For approval, period. And I took out the would show, So you take that out. What else did you leave in there?
That's what I did.
So grading, parking, setbacks, landscape. All right, read that so Mike and take it.
One item that's common in a golf course community is, and I'm sure that Mr. Fay and his team will do this, but they always mark the home sites as out of bounds with the stakes.
Yeah.
I'm sure that those will be clearly marked, and hopefully that will stop some of the golfers from, just taking liberties onto the residential lots. I said some.
Possible unless there's a lost ball.
That costs $4.
Yeah. Or less. Setbacks, they have to,
But you have the setbacks
they'll be
there, though.
determined,
But you have that. You've given them that.
yes, on that plan,
I'm just saying, so leave
they're
that
gonna
word
be,
there.
okay.
Mr. Rowley, in your opinion on the lot bounds, should it be something that should be requested, or is that something that should be left open? In my experience on this board, we've never had a subdivision plan without requiring lot bounds, so that would be a new thing for me.
Regulations don't require 'em.
Right, so that's why I'm asking you, would
I
it
don't
be
think
okay?
you can- As far as the subdivision plan is concerned, I don't think you can go beyond what your regulations say are required.
Okay.
When you're talking about the site plan, the buildings, setbacks and that type of thing, you can talk about that. I'm not so sure that you can require all of the lots to be bounded. If it was in your subdivision rules and regulations, then I think you could under the subdivision guidelines.
I'm not saying I would want to, I'm just asking your opinion, because I haven't seen it before.
Yep.
In the subdivisions that I've worked on with this board, there's been lot bounds, so.
It's never been done here. I know it is done in, I know Bourne has that as a requirement. There may be other towns around Bourne I am familiar with.
So it's fine.
It is done, but in order for it to be a requirement, you've gotta spell it out.
No, I mean, it's fine that, it not be requested at this point.
I think so. It's incumbent upon the applicant to be sure that he's in compliance with all
Right.
these conditions.
Right.
So if there was a case where you felt that there was an encroachment, you could ask him to verify it. At some point in time, let's suppose everything is built out and there's a complaint filed. You got a letter or somebody, from somebody that says that the golf course is over on my lot. You have, I believe, the authority under this special permit, which you're putting together, to contact the owner of the development and tell him what the situation is and ask him to show by a plan properly prepared, shows where these features are in relationship to that lot line. And you could require that as something for him to show the board that there is a
Just to,
condition.
just to rectify the
If
situation.
there's encroachment, under the terms of the conditions of the permit, you can order it to be removed.
I would, rather than to go through that, I think that you have on this, I wouldn't do individual bounds, but most of these, like the back line of the houses, you might have 12 houses with a single line. You could bound the beginning and the end of that line so that it would be fairly easy for people to find where the back line was without having to put a bound in each lot. But you could certainly set a parameter on some of those. The same with the big lots. The big lots run long distances, but you'd have something to work with if you pegged the major turning points on that. Because there'll be issues out there, and it'd be nice to have something that people could work with.
I have seen conditions where, in this particular instance, it's a golf course, but in other instances where you've got multifamily housing and you've got common space, that the open space is bounded. Essentially, that's what Bob is saying,
Yeah.
which I think is
Yeah.
a reasonable thing to do. So you don't need every lot corner.
Right.
If it's a straight line for 6 or 8 lots,
Long
no
line.
points.
Okay.
You could do that.
All right. So Mike and Michelle, Bob, so you have the copy that Dave handed out.
Yes.
So we're looking at C.
Mm.
The only thing that's crossed out in that paragraph is grading, parking, and landscaping.
Hold on one second.
Mm-hmm.
Grading,
Fifth line down.
parking, grading, parking, and
Landscaping.
landscaping.
All right, the rest of that paragraph stays, is that what you want?
That's fine.
Okay, and then the next one, like I said, the next paragraph picks up what, in the normal playing area of the golf course be separated from the lot, so I mean, it's right in there underlined, so.
Okay.
All right, so are we good with
Yeah.
the?
There is a typo right above that in B. If
In
anybody,
B?
yeah, if anybody cares about a typo. After lot B shall, you need to put in the word be revised.
Yeah, all right.
With those things taken out.
Okay, the rest of it stays.
Because it's the same, there's the same typo if you care on page 10 at the top line. It says short neck road shall be gated.
Page 10?
Page 10, first line, personnel entrance and exit to and from Short Neck Road shall be gated.
Okay.
Mr. Reed ran out of these.
This is the same copy that you sent me earlier, the only thing was just that.
Yeah.
some crossed out,
So
so.
Joey had some other things where I missed an and or I misspelled therefore.
Dave, do you see anything else in this you want in there?
Can I ask a question of Mr. Raleigh, or, under conditions of approval, is there, in this particular document, again, I'm not an expert on this document, but should there be content or reference to the homeowner's trust document being part of this approval process?
Yes.
And is it somewhere in there that I missed? Is it somewhere in there that I missed?
There is reference to a homeowner's document somewhere, that I read.
I saw it too.
I guess my question is, should it be part of the approval, and should it also be required to be recorded with each transfer of a deed or,
Mike, if you read number 25,
yes,
that's probably what you're asking,
Page 10.
page 10.
well, that talks about landscaping. I'm asking about just the document in general.
I think that there's a homeowner's trust
Right,
for the individual lot owners, then there're gonna be condominium trust,
right.
and then there's a master agreement between the condominium, the homeowners, and the golf course.
Yeah,
And I think I tried to put those as a requirement in the subdivision
okay.
approval.
My question is just, should they be included somewhere? And I didn't necessarily see any language here that,
Yeah, I would think that you would, maybe more appropriate in this.
okay.
That's when we had this trust on page 6.
Yeah.
C, did you see that?
Yeah,
The one with the subdivision. I don't know if I changed that.
that's, again, it's an individual item. I didn't know if the trust needed to be referenced as a part and parcel to the approval process.
Number 28 on the subdivision one.
Yeah. Prior to the start of construction, the final homeowners association agreement with the master agreement between the homeowners.
Special permit?
Yeah,
Okay,
that's what Michael,
yeah,
that's the appropriate place.
that's what I was worried about. And should it also say there that it should be recorded? With, my question is with each individual home lot sale, does
No.
the trust,
Toward the homeowners association before you sold the lots.
right,
The condominium trust gets recorded, so it's part of the title.
right, but if it's not recorded on each deed, couldn't that cause some confusion in the future? Haven't we seen that somewhere
This
else?
has happened.
We saw it here in another subdivision, but,
If there's something in there you want somebody, you can make a requirement that that the deed reference them.
I'm just asking because we have that other subdivision in town where the developer put that into place after the fact. And now he's got some of the homeowners who were aware of it and signed for it when they bought their properties, and half didn't know.
Yeah.
And now they're trying to figure out how it's gonna affect that subdivision, and there's some problems.
Require the homeowners association agreement to be recorded prior to the deeding of
EB.
any lots.
Mm.
BB.
So,
That's what you're, I think they wanna do that anyway, but
right,
we can put it in there just because.
We're learning from our mistakes, Mike.
right.
I think he's right that 28 in the subdivision approval
Yeah.
is probably more appropriate to put into
Good.
the
Okay.
special permit,
So that should be number 36.
and then make that not only the final homeowners association agreement and master documents as recorded.
Right.
uh,
What are we putting that? We're adding an item,
Should be
36?
filed in a, actually, I assume you've taken a look at them and you're satisfied with them.
Let's see.
Are you gonna add that in there as verbiage?
So,
It's gonna be 36, right?
number 36,
Yeah.
which will become number 28 of the other one, shall be submitted and approved as recorded.
Well, you wanna say that, and that the homeowners association and master agreement is recorded prior to
Correct,
the sale of
correct, first lot.
any lots, yeah.
And a copy submitted back to the planning board.
Yes, correct.
You want proof, you want something in your file
Stamped.
that says you've
Yep.
got a copy of the record document.
You said something else.
Yeah.
Open space bounded. He said open space.
Angle points where there was a straight line before. Let me just look.
Not a question out of you.
It's existing.
Not a peep.
Good one. We could be here all night.
So,
Mr. Rowley, couldn't you just say, at every angle change, or, at every 500 or 1,000 feet, whichever is,
Less than that. Yeah.
so see the one right here, Mike, we go,
I mean, you've got a whole bunch of them being here.
see these every 3 lots.
It's 20 days, and there's nothing on the site plan. Site plan is a 90-day period.
I'm not so sure you're gonna be able to see between all these bounds.
right,
Once everything gets done, the landscaping's
Right.
done, but you could put something in there that says that, permanent monuments shall be set along the rear lot line of all single-family lots abutting the golf course at intervals of not more than 300 feet.
is that fair, 300 feet?
And, yeah, I think so. I mean, you're not gonna necessarily be able to see, but at least you've got a set of control points to where if you needed to establish something in between,
Find
you
one, you
could do
find.
so very easily. Because I'm not sure what you're gonna be able to see on this back line, for example, between 67 and 74.
Right, I see
If you
it,
did every angle
That's
point,
mo-
you'd
no,
have 1, 2,
I would
3,
not,
4,
yeah.
5, 6, 7, 8.
yeah, no,
I'm not sure it's necessary to put all those in. But if you did it, say, at 300-foot intervals, that would take you between, say, this point and this point. There's 220, there's 70, so they're between 66 and 68, a 300-foot setback, or 300-foot distance between monuments.
sure,
So you could get the intermediate points quite easily.
okay,
Wouldn't be in a straight line,
yeah.
but not knowing what you're gonna be able to see and what you can't see.
Mhm,
So if you took that distance and that distance,
mhm,
you'd have 3 or 4 in there anyway that you could use as control.
okay.
Permanent monuments shall be placed along the rear lot lines between the single-family lots and the golf course. Distance.
At intervals of not more than 300 feet.
Where is that being added to?
Say it again?
What document is that being added to?
This one.
Those are strict.
The,
Subdivision? Special permit.
site plan.
All right.
You can do that there if you want. Just say, including the rear lot lines of,
here's the plan.
Has, George missed a meeting?
He said he might be late.
He's coming in from New York.
The baby strapped to the roof, flapping around.
That's what he was doing.
Maybe.
Hmm.
So, you want me to do a clean copy of all of this? 37, and I've got 36, which is the bound, 37, which is the, 28,
They had their time.
So is that takes care of the special permit, then we add in those other two conditions?
Can you read that last condition out loud?
Which one?
The one, about the permanent line behind
bounds.
Bounds, yeah.
Bounds.
Permanent monuments shall be placed along the rear lot lines between the single-family lots and the rear lot lines of lots A and B and the golf course.
Thank
At
you,
intervals of not more than 300 feet.
thank you.
So that satisfies,
You guys are happy with that then?
Like I said, I mean, I can read this document, I understand what I'm reading, but because I'm not an expert, I don't know what might be missing from this document. That's
Like a whole ton of stuff.
That's my concern.
First part of the second part of the third part of the first part.
Yeah. So,
Well, didn't you say you just ran into a situation with the other subdivision, with another subdivision that, with the homeowners association?
yeah, it hadn't, yeah.
Because I noticed when we were talking about that, it never, was mentioned about grandfathering anybody that has already had the homes into that kind of an association or on that master document. Like they didn't, their rights were pretty much abolished until they put all these documents together. So I didn't know if that would come back as an issue with those homeowners that already live there.
What, that already live up at the golf course?
Mhm.
They have their own. That's
They were
a
their own
separate-
association.
But I thought they were talking about putting them all together.
No,
No?
they're their own association currently, but, Mr. Fay and his team are putting together a number of different associations because of the 2 families and the 4 families and the single families.
So there's gonna be multiple associations?
Yep, yeah.
Okay.
'Cause some will be single-family residences, some will be condos,
we're all gonna live in harmony.
so.
All right, so for the special permit then, Mr. Chairman, then that one, again, to get a clean copy of that, we just, I think that's plenty of time.
The only thing I would ask if we could add in somewhere in there, 'cause I don't know that it's written, is referencing the plan set, the title and date of the final plan version.
Final date.
That's the final version you got right there.
Is that September? September.
Title suit vision.
On the site plan was November 9th. And on the subdivision plan was November,
This one says October.
Yeah, the one I
14th.
had was October.
Well, the thing is, yeah, we gotta find a real date. We got so many different plan sets running
this
around.
is
it. Which
another
one's
date,
the-
I thought of October 15th.
I think at the last meeting we were here, there was 2 plan sets that were issued
Yeah, that's.
prior to the night.
This is this one right here. That's the most recent one that they gave us.
This one here says October 14th.
Yeah.
That's the most recent one.
Oh, excuse me, I'm looking at the wrong section here. Yeah. The, let's see, the special permit through October 14th.
Yeah.
And then the lot layout plans on the definitive subdivision through September 25th.
Where are you reading that?
Page 2, numbers 10 and 11. You look at those.
But the minutes show, Mr. Barrett is present at,
I think those
Eight.
dates are okay.
20. Yeah, 11 hands, Jackson.
Oh, I have 12.
It said something that the date was
Get
Get two.
You can talk to
That set is the, set right there, that one you have, and this one right here.
So October,
They've given us golf course changes and plans. That the
at their initial presentation on definitive.
Yeah.
Those are the plans that we were gonna reference.
Oh.
Those are separate.
Mhm.
That, I don't think they're part of the main thing.
No, that's in the definitive section. That's a different.
That's what's included in this pack?
No. No, we were referencing the golf course. There was a set of
Yeah.
things on the golf course, and I don't know what the date was on those plans.
I thought everything was in there.
Mm.
I'm not sure it's
Too
still.
many sets of plans. We need to
It was
get
a
one.
separate couple of sheets that they gave us
Yeah.
for the golf course.
Right.
Yeah,
That we said we were gonna reference.
and that was the first presentation, I think,
The first presentation?
yeah, at the beginning. Not the preliminary, but on the, when we were doing the hearings.
Mr. Rowley, do you have a record of plans received?
I have several copies.
Yeah,
I'm not sure I have the one you're talking about, the golf course.
Well, can I,
Look at my file and see what I have.
I guess my question on that's gonna be then, if we have a question on that set of plans, I'd like to go back to item 29 on page 11, if we can, everybody, and I wanna get it real clear.
Yep.
So the number of units, density, setbacks, on and on and on, it all reads good. And floor shall be filed with the planning board for approval prior to filing for any building permits for these units. So we are gonna get a set of plans for Lot A and B. Then when
Right.
we get to C, that also reads that, a plan shall be provided to the planning board showing the landscaping and parking through that whole thing. So if we're going to get an updated set of plans for those items,
Mm-hmm.
which I agree with you, Mike and Michelle, that we should get, and Bob, I agree with that now. And I'll tell you why, maybe later, but I think we should get a final set of the golf course plan. Quite frankly, I don't have it in the 4 sets that I have.
I don't either.
So
No.
when you guys just brought that up, it just irked me that there's too many sets of plans, okay? Now, I agree with the applicant when they say, well, we revised the plan because Mike had some concerns, and we revised the plan because Bob had some concerns, or John, or Michelle, or whoever, Mr. Chairman, whoever. But we're sitting here tonight and we don't have the final set of that golf course upgrades, and that's kind of key to the whole project. So I think in number 29, Bob, you've got it right, that we get a set of plans that show everything the right way. And I think that maybe we should can we make it D in that we get that we make sure we have an updated set of the golf course repairs, revised golf course repairs?
Current.
Current, is something like that, Bob? Can we
Just
add?
do it as the 37.
Oh, fine, 38. I was up to,
Whatever that
I was
number
up,
is.
well, I was up to 37.
Okay.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, we are.
So number 38. So all I'm asking, fellow board members, is I want to see the plan. I think that now the negativity of the applicant at this stage is we got to get it right. Okay, so. So 38, up to date, golf course repair plans.
Okay.
So I see that the council has hung in here for the remainder of tonight, so perhaps he can make sure that all these plans get done, okay?
John, I would take it back then to page 2, documents reference, number 12. And ask what that is. You're saying to me, based on what you
Right.
just suggested, that they'll all come out.
Oh, so number 30, we won't need 38, Charlie, if
No,
not,
you need 38, but you don't need 12.
Don't need 12.
The way
Oh.
you've got it,
I'm
changes the golf course detail in plans dated so-and-so, And that's in the list of reference documents that supposedly you have.
Yeah, but again, there's no date there, yeah, so.
Delete 12 if you're gonna request the new plan.
All right, well, board members, I'd agree with Mr. Rowley, we should take 12 out,
Yes.
so,
Sounds good.
thank you.
Well, you
Tom.
could leave it and just put the date.
And put the
in
proper date in it,
Right date in, so.
Won't know it until after this is filed.
Right.
yeah, because we're asking for the thing to be,
You didn't have a copy of it in the office?
We may, but if it was submitted, he's saying back when we first started, I don't have that particular date.
Total confusion with these.
No, but if we have,
This plan
we
set,
must
I
have it
was
somewhere,
told,
yeah.
had all this plans and everything that was the plan set, that's what I was told was the final.
That's over there. I marked it.
okay. So, then, I think we're good with the 38 conditions?
Yeah.
All right. So, Mr. Reed, you have no problem updating it one more time for us? You're doing some good work. I like sitting next to you.
Now,
What's the language gonna be?
You-
Applicant shall provide an updated plan of the golf course.
Repairs,
No,
upgrades,
changes, revisions to
changes, revisions,
You
upgrades.
want-
fit within the
You're gonna want
final design of the,
final design of the golf course.
but also of the residential,
Well, that's in C.
We already said that.
That's in 29C.
Okay.
This one is the,
the golf course only.
all the upgrades and repairs and
Right.
stuff
I
to the
think,
golf
was it
course.
3 holes they're working on? 2, 12, and there was another one, right?
Yeah, see, one becomes 11, or 11 becomes 12, 16 becomes something, I don't know, I can't remember.
well, I think these plans do include the golf course modifications, but we asked them to take everything else off and show just the modifications so we could make it clearer. That's the sheet you're looking for.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Okay,
Okay.
so I think that takes us through that. All right.
Next.
Next item.
Just one question before you get past that. Now, you made reference to the golf course activities won't infringe on the residential. Do you need to make a notation the other way? Or leave that up to the conditions put in the covenant?
That's, they're gonna be their covenants. I'm sure they'll address that.
So number 32
Oh,
is gonna change to say, changes to the design now will say, on the plans referenced in section 38 will be completed.
section
See
30.
where it says, we reference back to 12, which is the plans we got.
It won't be in section 38, it'll be in number 38, or condition 38?
Yeah, in condition 38.
Okay.
What happened here?
Shrunk. So are you good now? Is that, we got everything?
It's a duplicate, God knows. I think on you to look at the final.
I have, I thought it was good the first time, but I'm glad I got schooled a little on number 29. I think that draws the whole thing right back together to put it on paper and give it to us one last time. Which to date they haven't done.
Nope. It'll happen. What's next?
I would think that the subdivision plan, definitive subdivision, move on to that.
Definitive subdivision plan?
And the copy we're working off is the one that was in our packet, right?
Yeah. This,
I
state
printed
you-
one at about 1:30. Is that the same one that's in the folder, Dave?
16th?
yeah. Yeah, that's it.
That's the only one I had, yeah.
Okay.
Are you looking at this?
No, 'cause I can't vote on that.
I know, but we can still listen to your questions.
That's the subdivision plan?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Charlie, am I correct that the actual road layout where the registered land is gonna stay 50 feet?
So I guess where we turn to page 2, Mr. Chairman, and we take a look at number 12, it says, proposed changes to the golf course is detailed in plans dated. We'll change that to put condition 38 of the,
Right, refer to.
refer to condition 30, what, is it 38 and the other one?
Are we referencing the plans we got initially as well as the subsequent plans?
Well, I don't,
In other words, are we keeping 12 to reference the plans that we got when they made the presentation? Because this really basically says what they've submitted.
okay, well, then we need the date off that plan.
If you want to, if we want to keep those,
I mean, it itemizes what was submitted.
yeah, whether
We
or
have a
not they're
copy.
not going to maybe follow them, but that's what we got.
Right.
So, I don't know.
So again, we're back to trying to confirm a date.
Well, we're trying to confirm a date, but then in the special permit, we've conditioned that they
They're
give
gonna
us
come back, yeah.
that they give us an up-to-date
Yes,
improvement, so.
yeah. Well, the
Mr.
thing
Reed,
with
is this
this references all the plans.
is this what
but
you
some of
refer to
those
as a
are gonna
paper
change.
trail? It's very confusing.
Hmm?
Mr. Reed, is this what you refer to as a paper trail in your business?
I didn't get that.
A paper trail, you need all the dates for all these plans.
Well, yeah, I thought they were listing in this everything that we got.
Yeah, that is a
That's
list
all.
of
Yeah.
what was presented to the board.
Well, I mean, you take a look at number 11, sheets 1 through 5, 13 through 38, it has date, January 21st, revised through 10/14. Then you look at number 12, and they don't have a date. So, and that's why I say, I think at this point, it's almost to the point is, well, we gave it to you, it's good enough for you. It's not good enough for you. If you want a permit and you want an approved subdivision plan, put the dates in it.
Yeah, well, we added that, but we didn't have the
Well,
date.
okay.
So hopefully we'll find those plans.
We'll confirm it.
I hate to belabor the point where you guys have gone over this already, but on 29C, the highlighted areas you inserted, and I kind of think you're taking on the work of the building department here at that point. I think once you've established the lot sizes and the setbacks, I think you're kind of done. At that point, it's up to the building department to make sure that those standards are adhered to.
Well, the reason you're talking about C,
Mm-hmm.
the reason we left in C was that the provision is that they can't use the lots for the golf course. And the way it's designed now, some of those golf course things are actually on lots, or the green touches the
But I
edge
think
of the
that's,
lot.
is
So-
that stated somewhere else?
Yeah, so but they've got to move those lots or move the golf course so that there's no, any encroachment, and whatever they're gonna do, we wanted to come back with that plan saying, okay, this is, the green isn't gonna touch here, the green will be over here, or this lot will be smaller, or, the sand traps aren't gonna be there, because you have to change them, because as it is now, there's gonna be encroachment
Okay, so
between them.
that's your intent?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, when you read that, though, prior to the filing for any building permits, the plan must be filed with the planning board for all those things. And it gets all the way down, greens and other features, period. An as-built plan shall be provided to the planning board showing the landscaping and parking. I guess at that point, you could say an as-built will be submitted to the building department. If you want to take,
I don't think, they don't care about landscaping. and-
nah, so
and-
leave it
and
alone,
parking.
leave it in there, make them do it, that's, all right.
All right, let's see, this definitive.
So, general findings.
Yeah.
I think that I just put in the stuff from the special permit on the general findings.
Right.
Except What shows there is number 5. Maybe we're supposed to leave that in. I got deleting crazy here. That section of the 12-inch PVC, should that stay? Page 4, right there.
So you're asking about the existing private on-site pump station was evaluated,
No.
all that whole thing, or just the water part?
Water.
Number, I don't know how it shows on yours, it shows right there. Where it says the existing 12-inch PVC,
Yep.
should that be left in?
It can be left in, it's shown on the plans, but it doesn't hurt you to state it in
Right.
Yeah, so
Conditions
we
are approved.
leave that in.
The other things that were just, other document, I don't know if we need this thing about the existing utility building. That was in the other, but I don't know if it really relates to this.
It relates more to the site plan because essentially what you're doing with the definitive plan is approving the layout, the design, the location of the streets that are shown on the subdivision plan. And approving essentially the lot configuration. So any of the amenities that go with that, if there's something so long as it's outside the limits of what they're gonna construct, if it interferes with that, then yeah, you gotta say it's gonna be relocated. So,
So we can take out that thing that I added in.
Which thing?
Where it says the existing utility building located south of the function hall.
Leave it there.
I don't see
Well, I
anything
don't think the plan is to renovate it. I think they're going to remove it and
wrong.
relocate it.
I see no problem with leaving it in there.
Yeah, one's gonna be taken out,
One of the buildings is gonna be removed, and the other one's gonna be updated
the other's gonna be
Okay.
updated.
for a tool,
You removed, I think, shows
like a
that.
tool shed.
Go down.
Just the
I'd
same we
leave
had
it.
in the other one.
I'd leave it. Because that has to do with the construction of the roads and the phases at which they're gonna be constructed. I'd leave them in there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just out of curiosity, number 10, we need that? I don't have anything against it, I'm just asking.
Maybe,
It's,
isn't it supposed to be on the plan?
no.
No, I mean, we're supposed to have that information on a definitive plan? Okay.
So we can scratch all of 10?
Well, I'm just saying, does it hurt? I mean,
I don't think it hurts
it
anything,
doesn't hurt, so yeah.
but I suppose it's inaccurate. Has anybody really measured it?
No.
All it is a finding.
Yeah.
You're making a statement, really. That's all you're doing.
Haven't watched it lately.
I thought so.
So, 10 in a row.
Leave it, I'd leave it.
Cons-
Can't hurt.
Filler.
All right, so I get some questions now coming up. Number 2, cul-de-sac size and configuration is shown on the above plans. Mr. Chairman, has that thing been revised to the way we wanted it? Charlie, do you know?
later on, but.
You want me to do it?
Yeah,
Where are you,
that's one of the questions.
John, where are you?
I was under, I'm on page 4, under findings, financing,
Oh,
number 2, cul-de-sac.
mm-hmm.
It's probably gonna be on the,
Say it again?
Isn't it the hammerhead?
They made them change it.
Wouldn't be able to.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we took the
It was
hammerhead out.
discussed, but it was never, we never seen a finalized
I think,
drawing of it.
well, they show a cul-de-sac now,
But it's, yeah, the cul-de-sac.
yeah, but it's not a true bulb. It's more of a one-sided bulb.
no, there's a larger scale plan, George, that shows it.
That would be sheet 7.
I'll let you do that.
I thought there was a blow over that thing.
Yeah.
7 should.
But on the blow, I thought there were questions.
Good loser.
What's that, a half sheet?
Yeah, that's a.
That shows the configuration there.
Is that good, Charlie?
It's less than what your standards are. Your standards call for a 50-foot radius. They've got a 43-foot radius to the curb line. They've got the fence out in this area here, which we had talked about sliding it so that the gate was over on this opposite side to improve the spacing, so you wouldn't have the corner of the fence right at a 22-foot distance from the other side of the road.
Okay.
They provided that to you in a small 8.5 by 11 sheet.
They did,
Yes.
all right.
I might be able to find it in my
So-
file.
Should we go back then, Charlie, to the conditions of the special permit and notate the 8.5 by 11 sketch that they gave?
Well, I would say that the sheet has to be corrected.
Let's, let me see if I can find the sheet first. And if I can, it may have a date on it. We can reflect that date in this and say to revise
So,
to look at that.
as revised, it works for you?
Yeah,
As
Yeah.
long, yeah, again, we need that.
because they had the turning movements for a box truck and so forth, which they expected might be delivering things to these single-family lots from time to time. Let me see if I can find the sheet.
Is there a fence?
Yeah, the fence before used to come right up here. No, they moved it.
Does it show, does it say anything about a fence?
Doesn't show anything about a
Or doesn't
gate.
show anything about a gate either.
Hopefully it'll be on the revised plan. At one time it showed up, but, you know, things come and gone.
I got a separate sheet at one point in time, too.
Yeah, they did.
It wasn't 8.5 by 11.
They submitted it at one of the public hearings.
That is an extra.
We got 5 altogether. So,
Any big ones?
no, those was very good, solid ones. Big, right across the field. Definitely not doing stupid. He was big back there. Throughout the islands, everybody has small basket racks. You see a big
A lot.
so I'm gonna do it.
Looking for the updated. Oh, 0 to 0.
Big long tines. Somebody killed it Saturday afternoon, coyotes got it overnight, ate the whole ass.
The junkyard and covered in with sand, walking in the back, they're shooting on the other side right now. I told Peter, I said, Peter, right in the middle of the road, there's a big dog sitting there dead.
Teasing because I could care less.
Little baby, you know.
What are they digging for? What are they digging for?
Looking for the cul-de-sac.
Cul-de-sac feature.
Change the fence, there was a
Yeah.
modification we need on.
We never
You
saw
must
it.
have it.
Charlie
must
thinks
have
it
it.
was 8.5 by 11 or smaller sheet. But
Ask Mr. Rowley, I bet you he knows.
looking for now.
Did he ever see it? I never saw it.
Thinks he did.
No, I did not.
So Rosalie, we've seen a lot of stuff. You know?
Had anything to public comment when they wanted limited access to Cohane Road. You don't think that was something to stipulate? Public comments that came in.
How are you gonna restrict it? You can't put a gate on it because it's a public road.
They restricted the other condo association, they don't even pay attention to the restrictions, right?
They were supposed to put a gate up there 2 buildings ago, and it never happened. Cohane Road.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Because Cohane Road's never been constructed up where it's supposed to. If you go up there,
Right.
when you make that turn
Mm-hmm.
onto the old road,
Mm-hmm.
it's supposed to be further to the left, way up, and coming down, and it was never constructed.
This might be.
So that might be a reduced version of the,
Yeah, in fact, it doesn't show any of the houses, so you don't really know how they're impacted by it.
That's the last page.
10/7/13. No, 10/20, no. Yeah. 10/7/13.
I mean, this is,
I have no idea. How's Alan doing?
He went to a rehab facility today. He's having troubles, getting himself up and out of bed.
There's an existing plan on the second page. is
Standing.
Yeah.
Once he's up, he's pretty good for the walker. Oh, he's out of rehab facility, I think, 3 days.
Gonna go sandwich?
Fall River? There's some Fall River.
not messing up your order. There's a couple of these,
Do you ride animals?
Not lately.
That's really
Yep, this is it.
Like any kind of thing on 4 legs? Know what that's for?
No.
Shown on the site plan.
Just a question. Just a question.
Put it in vote.
See, when velocity is really, people flew. Had a planet ball. Some guy called him up, he's at the drag strip. He's interested in this painted block.
I don't think they're gonna need a plan.
Get it down, he wanted 250. Guy says, if it was white, he would have bought it. He said it would cost too much money to
Either
paint
one
it
of
all
those
white. You know,
sketches don't try to meet what you wanted when you negotiated.
Should he offer him 209?
Well, this, I believe this one was the last one, that they showed the turning,
No location.
turning movements for a box truck.
Is there a date on that, Charlie?
There is not,
Was it tubbed?
but it came to us as a part of the comments, and we discussed the change in the location of the fence at one of the discussion meetings that we had.
Painted black.
So I would suggest that it should incorporate as a condition of approval that the cul-de-sac, that the fencing within the cul-de-sac should be moved so that it, let me think about this for a minute.
Follows the property line?
No, if you do that, it'll be down the middle of the road, so you don't want that. It should be, let me think about it just for a second. Because you want to make sure that the gate gets located to the opposite side of the road, so it's out of the cul-de-sac.
I think this is the original.
Let me think about it just for a minute.
It's been changed. You gotta get to a detail of the roads.
Is it a revised plan that shows drainage and everything anyway?
This is,
And what they did, it's porous pavement, that they have defined the limits of the porous pavement, and the grading has been finished on the plans. That I did check.
All right. So, but Charlie, that really, we should list that under the site plan and special permit as well, right?
No, I believe this, since they're asking for a waiver on the cul-de-sac dimensions, you could make it as, the waiver is approved subject to the following condition.
All right.
this is,
Okay, you're right. You're right.
Sorry, Bob.
Is that something you ate?
Yeah, that's the same as this one, George.
So there is, for number two, that there is an upgraded plan, Charlie says that they have for that, so we'll get the date on that.
Well, it's not identified, so we have to identify that
I
somehow.
have to make a condition. They showed the turning movements on this, which is fine. Let me just think about this in the language of the condition.
We attach an exhibit number and just reference that.
Exactly.
Push the button again.
There is some grading, especially in front of the duplexes, that is, it's almost flat down there. And they propose some remediation for that, but
Just makes it, this makes it real.
Did you ever get an answer? Mine from, was the Community and Economic Development over there, or was that, the gentleman that just resigned? What was his name?
Salpina?
Yeah. Did you ever get an answer about the sign?
plans, if they have a date, those golf course modifications.
CETA's given the developer full power to submit a landscaping plan to CETA
Bless you.
for approval and re-landscape it however they like it.
They had to do it?
Because they're trying to force the town to sell it to them.
Oh.
So they're playing with the selectmen, saying CETA's not going along to get along.
Anything else you guys
Because
see?
they're
in this
manipulating.
we should adjust?
Somebody have a job.
No, other things cost him his job.
Anybody?
Bless you.
Any other questions? Anything else in this document you see that we should?
In this particular document,
One of the questions that I raised was what you're doing about the roadways. And I think the way your subdivision regulations read that it's sort of presume they're gonna be private for like 3 years and then the town will
right,
take them over.
No, I think they stay private.
I think they stay private.
And on these, I think, I don't know if you want to, if we need to make
Well,
that as
the
a
changes
condition,
of what, 7,
remain private,
I think you,
They stay private.
my favorite.
unless the town.
Well, they can submit, they can apply to the
They
town
can
to
apply.
accept them, but
Yeah.
Usually it happens after the first year of potholes.
soon as the road starts to fall apart.
So we should make the
On number,
notation that
well, they,
roadways will remain private.
well, Mr. Rowley's looking at that,
I
can
just, when I was looking at the
we
regulations.
breeze through this a little?
Imply that in the normal course of
Can-
events, the town would.
On page 7, number 11, while Mr. Rowley's doing his work,
Number 11.
no stumps or debris shall be buried on the,
Number 11?
on page 7, number 11.
My page 7 doesn't have 11.
What document are you on?
Might have printed differently.
State Point Club LLC shall be made eligible.
Aren't you on the, are you on the definitive subdivision plan approval?
Yes.
What's your date?
His printed version, the way he printed it up, he's not looking at the one from his packet, he printed his own up from his own computer, so it didn't match up to what we all have.
Oh,
Oh, so is there one in there?
look in your packet.
They don't yell at me.
What was the question on it?
Where it says, no stumps or debris shall be buried on the, they had put residential development, and that was crossed out, and just says site, but should we reference the total acreage, like 141.59 acre site? Or is site sufficient enough?
I think site kind of,
To me, site means the part that they're developing, not the entire property. That's my concern. To me, the site includes all the acreage in its
Everything
entirety.
encompassed in the
You
whole-
want the 141.59 acre site?
Yeah,
That's what's intended.
So that this dimension and that was
Then I do it on the other two.
30 feet between the edge of the pavement and the corner of the fence.
Okay.
And moving the gate as far westerly as you need to in order to accomplish that.
So, hang on, leave it there, Charlie.
Yeah, just show the rest
So,
of the.
so Charlie, that was only done on an 8.5 by 11, how are we gonna reference that to put it into the sheet? We can use
They've
that-
asked for a waiver on this, and the only difference that there would be what we talked about at one of our discussion meetings, and that was to move the security gate, instead of it being way over here, they had the gate way over here.
Mm.
There's no reason why it has to be here, it can be over this way, because this is the street line.
Mm-hmm.
So if they move the security gate over this way to where it, when it's open, it opens up Cahoon Street.
Right.
Short Neck Road here. The
Mhm.
gate can be on this side, it doesn't have to be over here.
Right,
If they move it westerly so as to provide a minimum of a 30-foot distance from this point to the narrowest point of the cul-de-sac.
which, yeah, we talked about that before.
So that would give you a little bit more opening than what they have shown, because right now, the fence would be way over here.
Right,
They're only showing 22 feet.
yep.
This would give a little bit more opening to the narrowest portion of the cul-de-sac.
Mm-hmm.
And I wrote something out which, if Paul wants to read it, you can see what it says. You won't need a new plan, just that when they do the security gate, they'll give it that much clearance.
Okay, so you're giving a physical description of the change.
Right.
Which will be a condition.
Right.
Can we have a sign printed also, and put on a signpost so the driver knows how to approach that?
We'll probably figure that out.
So,
For our drivers.
Mhm.
It's a part of, it would be part of your waiver requirements for
Yep.
subdivision.
so am I gonna just add to the end of 2, as revised pursuant to condition number 29, and then stick this in as condition 29,
No,
or not?
no.
Okay.
Right at the beginning of your conditions of approval, you've got 4 waivers that you need to
Right, that-
consider.
Right, that's
Right,
what I
And
have.
that's where I'm suggesting you put it.
that's, the waivers are on page 5, correct? There's 5 of them? 5 of them.
Page 5, it's 5 of them.
So, we've already agreed on the 40-foot street layout, as opposed to the 50 required.
Cape Cod berm.
The cul-de-sac size, Mr. Rowley, you agree that that's sufficient at this point?
Yes.
With that, with the sketch that he's got
Okay.
and the dimensions.
We've talked about Cape Cod berm, but didn't they define it better than use of Cape Cod berm? Didn't they define it at one point?
it's in the details of
Yeah, it's in the cross-sectional details, it shows the Cape Cod berm and where it's gonna be used.
Mm-hmm,
There are sections on the road profile out next to the golf course next to Lot B.
Yeah.
in Cahoon Road, where they're actually pitching the road to one side.
Yeah,
You don't want the Cape Cod berm there because you'll be trapping the water.
right,
It has to flow across and get off the pavement.
okay,
So except as where it's shown on the plans is what I believe is in here in some other place.
all right,
But it references the use of Cape Cod berm in place of vertical curbing because the vertical curbing's in your rules and regs
mm-hmm,
that you have to have.
mm-hmm,
So in order for the plans to be in compliant, you've got to approve the waiver of the use of the Cape Cod berm in place of curbing,
right,
vertical curb.
and,
So that's why that's there.
okay. Road grades less than minimum otherwise required as shown on the above plans?
Correct.
What is that, Charlie?
Because again, that has to do with the super elevation of the roadway. You can make a road flat, provided you got enough pitch to run the water from one side to the other.
Right,
And that's the case where Bay Point Drive takes that sharp curve to the right in front of the lots A and B.
Right,
That section from there on up to and including Cahoon Road.
pretty flat.
There are some places where it's less than 0.75%, which I think is your minimum.
and on the, okay, and the last one is the sidewalks, and on the plans, I guess my question is would they be continuous on one side, or does it jump from one side of the street to the other, and,
It's pretty much continuous along one side. Yeah.
and should it say that in this?
No, they're shown on the plan,
Refer to plan.
rather than having on both sides. If you approve this, it means it can go on one side.
Okay,
So, I was gonna put this as the reference to condition, but you wanted to put that right in here?
Yeah, because you need to grant the waiver.
Right,
The whole
we
thing-
are granting the waiver.
Yes,
right,
but the
okay.
whole thing is a
You took the
waiver
ball now.
in terms of its design.
No,
so you
but we're
couldn't
not
vote.
doing it as shown on the above plans, are we?
Yes, you are.
Because the plan is different?
The plan dimensions show essentially what's here,
Okay,
with the exception of the fence and the gate.
the only thing is the fence, okay, all right.
As shown on above plans and amended fencing and gate.
Well, it's shown on the above plans. It's on those plans right there.
Yeah,
The only
we
thing,
reference the gate.
the only thing we're doing, though, is to make a condition as a part of the waiver that the chain link fence, which they're showing on the plans, be moved far enough to the west to allow for a 30-foot opening at the narrowest point.
so that cul-de-sac plan you have on that 8.5 by 11 is identical to that?
Yeah.
Okay, it's just been changed based on fencing?
Right. And they've added what they're calling a porous pavement in the cul-de-sac area,
Mm-hmm,
so that takes care of the drainage of the surface water off the pavement of the
Right.
cul-de-sac.
yeah, right,
And that's shown as a detail in the plans too.
and that's an acceptable practice to you?
Yeah.
Okay.
So where it says under those 4 or 5 waivers,
Yeah,
we're gonna add
yes,
like a condition next to it right there,
fence,
instead of later.
okay. Okay,
Page 6 look good?
No, I'm still on 5, or I don't know what your 5 is. So
Right.
what's,
I think you're fine, take it easy.
so what's the deal with the approval of the selectmen of the road commissioners regarding
right,
this?
That's a comment that I raised early on, that they're doing the reconstruction within Cahoon Road, which is still a public way.
right,
Yeah.
I assume that the road commissioners would have to say it's okay to rip it up and rebuild it,
somebody has to.
but,
Again, that's all the reports and commissions that all have to be adhered to, so to get a permit, they gotta go to municipal maintenance anyway and dig up the road.
that's, didn't the selectmen just put up,
okay, you probably want to revise that language and
Right.
simply to say that it has to be approved by the road commissioners.
right,
It does say with the approval of the,
Well, it does, this is a finding, so you don't want to make it a finding that says it has been approved, because if they haven't filed it or got the approval from them, you don't want to say that they have.
So it really shouldn't be a finding, it should be in a condition, shouldn't it?
Yes. Just move
Because
this
we
down.
haven't, we can't find anything.
That's right.
Okay.
I'm not sure that the road commission has to approve work on a road, they approve potential changes in roads or signage, things of that nature, but when road repairs are done, all those things don't come before the road commission.
Well, that's not a repair, that's, part of it's gonna be reconstructed.
Right, but I mean, would municipal maintenance go down and make sure that it's built according to state practices or whatever?
Is the,
Well, that would be part of the inspection of the whole project.
is the sidewalk being continued down Cahoon?
Excuse me?
The new sidewalk being continued?
Sidewalk is in an easement area that's outside the layout. They
It's
had
our-
to
it's-
add an area, sort of a private way adjacent to the public way in order to get the pavement widened out and to get the sidewalk in.
Okay, but they're doing that.
So but there is a portion of it, of Cahoon Road, that they're gonna rebuild. They're gonna rip it all up, grade it, and repave it again as far as the northerly end or easterly end of that Lot B,
Okay.
Lot A, whichever one it is, B. But as a condition, it probably should be that it would be consistent with the approval of the road
But
commissioners.
isn't that the road that the neighbors were concerned about with the children and
No,
traffic and,
well, they were concerned about from that point on out to Onset Avenue.
but that was
They're
Cahoon
not
Road.
touching that.
But that was Cahoon Road, right?
Mhm.
It is.
And in their documents, are they also gonna try to restrict the residents from using that road as a means of entrance and egress, like the other condo association has recorded?
I'm not aware that it's,
Well, they have it
Said
recorded,
anyway.
but have never practiced it
Right,
or enforced it.
right,
it's a public way. I'm not sure that you can restrict the use of a public way.
right.
If it was a private way, I could say where you might, but since it is a public way, I'm not sure that you can restrict the use of that by anybody.
Okay.
So, David, if they're gonna increase the width of the road, is it coming from a commission?
Typically, that's something handled through municipal maintenance. I don't know that the road commission has been involved with any approvals of road reconstructions or repairs as a
You
common practice.
You don't normally see it, third-party reconstruction of a public road.
Right.
There's probably nothing that you've encountered since the road commission.
This is a little bit unique. If you had an intersecting street, yeah, they might pave a portion of the public way.
Yeah.
If you've got a water main crossing or a sewer main crossing, or you're gonna join the pavement, yeah, there would be a limited amount of construction. This is a little bit different, in that for some section of it, you're gonna rip up everything that's there and repave it. So it should be with the authorization of somebody, I would think.
Well,
Somebody's gotta,
well,
Since the
so-
planning board does not have authorization over public ways.
yeah.
So if we make that whole paragraph a condition, you cross out the board finds that sense. You just start it with Cahoon Road is a public way, 30-foot lane, can make improvements in line of way provided Route 20 with approval from the Board of Selectmen or road commissioners.
As a finding, shouldn't it say, will need the approval,
Right.
will require the approval of
Well,
the
the
Board of
condition would be that they obtain
Conditions,
Well, this
in order to
this is a
widen it.
finding.
What do you say
So
to
we're
take
gonna take
it
it
out?
out of the findings, I think, because
Okay,
we
take it
can't
out.
make, we haven't found anything yet.
Right.
Thank you.
But as a condition, it would be, they have
So you're gonna
to
move it to
secure the
conditions.
approval in order to do that.
That's what I'm saying, if you just cross out the first few words, just start at Cahoon Road and go all the way, and they can make the improvements with the approval from the Board of Selectmen or road commissioners, with town municipal, and municipal maintenance. Does that cover it, Dave? That way, if the road commissioners say go to municipal maintenance, in there,
Right.
it's a condition, go to all these agencies and get it done.
I think Dave Menard is a part of that commission anyway.
Oh, is he?
I believe so.
Okay,
Yeah, he is.
I don't know all
I
the
think he
players
is.
anymore, Charlie.
I'm
You
I'm
beat me
pretty
to
sure
death,
he
so I
is.
stayed out of it.
Yeah, he is.
Okay.
But they,
Sorry, I didn't see that one.
they have to, they don't get the permission, then they not be able to build according to the plan. So,
Which means they're out of luck.
which means they're out of luck.
They'd have to come back here.
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna have any problem with the selectmen. The selectmen are already complaining that we're taking too long.
We can actually leave it, since then it's public way, they shall obtain
What's he doing?
for the Board of Selectmen or road commissions to make, no, I think,
whom owns a public way, a 30-foot layout, Bay Point Club shall obtain approval from the Board of Selectmen or Road Commissioners to make improvements in line and grade and provide new pavement 22 feet in width. How's that?
Yeah, I'd just leave that the way you had it, just still we have to get approval, same difference. Take that out.
Yeah, but the-
They can make improvement with the approval.
Yeah, that's not- that's-
They must,
You're telling them they have to.
they must
get
make the
approval.
improvement.
Not that they can do it, but they have
must
to
to.
get that approval.
All right, so, all right.
You want to be careful, even though, you know, the drop was 45 minutes.
Yeah, I know, it'll be halftime in a minute, so. All right, so page 6.
I changed number 2 to read the way it reads in our subdivision rules.
Construction of all ways and the installation of all municipal services shall be completed within 24 months from the date of approval of the plan.
I think you have to include that in the language, you know,
Wish we were in school together.
on the date filed in town clerk, excluding the 20 days appeal period.
Remember if that was in the, all right, if it's in the subdivision thing.
I don't know if it's written that way, but that's generally the way we
I
read.
just copied it right out of the subdivision rules.
What do you mean, George, just leave the whole paragraph?
Or write it the way it's strict instead of 24 months, so within 2 years from the date of copy
I
of
think the rules say it's 2 years.
Yeah, but that, we usually exclude the time allotted for appeal because they really
20
can't do any
days.
construction during that point.
Right, 20-day appeal. It's 2 years from the end of that date.
Well, no, I think,
That's how I've seen it before.
I think what this language says is they appeal, and the appeal goes on, and 5 years from now, they win whatever it is.
Oh.
Then they get 2 years after that.
Oh,
No, yeah, if they, yeah,
Yeah.
if they can construct them.
I have a problem with that, because you have rules and regulations, I mean, they haven't built anything, and the rules and regulations may be
change,
different as to what
Oh, yeah.
standards
Right.
are there.
right.
I mean, if you want to say it's 2 years from the date decisions filed with the town clerk, excluding the time required for appeal of 20 days,
Right, leave that excluding,
and we put that back in,
Yep.
that make people happy.
yes.
We feel comfortable.
Mhm.
And your regs say date of approval, you want to say date it's copied with the town clerk? Not going to make a big difference, probably. Which
Appealing
one?
it anyway.
Well, that's when the clock runs when you file the decision. That's when it's real.
I don't think that's what the thing said, but that's good, we can change that.
The date in which a copy of the decision is filed with the town clerk. That's,
Yeah. Okay?
okay. Number 11, Mike, you had a question, no stone chamber shall be buried on the 141 acre site, is that what it is? Or
141.59.
on the 141.59 acre
Site.
site? Okay,
Change the other one.
number 8, you questioned which sheets would be recorded. I think,
Yeah, we have so many plans, I thought that at one point Charlie had indicated specifically what sheets were.
I got something all worked out for you.
Uh-oh.
I think probably I could ask Rich, but I'm pretty sure it's gonna be hard to get a copy of the recorded plan for some time. What you typically do is they're gonna record the Mylars, they'll keep the Mylars, but they'll give whoever records them a copy of the registry receipt for plan so-and-so with the date of the plan number that gets recorded.
Mm-hmm.
They will also do the same thing for the recorded covenant. You could ask for that documentation to be received at any time, right after it's been recorded. If any time you want to look it up, you can always look the stuff up online to see that it's there. But I suggested that proof of recording of the approved subdivision plan and covenant shall be provided to the planning board prior to the commencement of construction. The sheet numbers, Bob, are 6 through 12 of 38. Am I wrong on that, Rich?
I haven't.
No, I mean, as far as the getting proof of the recording of the plans.
Sure, we can get copies immediately, within a day or two, you can get reduced copies.
You can get reduced copies?
Yeah.
well, we'll need when they come in for the Mylars to be signed, we'll need a paper copy anyway for the records, so.
Of those
I
sheets?
can get a copy from the registry with the plan number affixed to it, and book and paid reference assigned to it, and I can download it and email it to you.
Okay.
So number 8 will be okay, Shelley?
So we're gonna say
yes.
8 point,
Yeah, just-
shall record sheet 6 through 12 of 38.
I think you can leave it alone, Bob. Just put in where you've got which sheets, just put copies of the recorded plan, comma, sheets 6 through 12 of 38, and the recorded covenant.
Okay,
And this decision ought to be filed with the planning board before construction commences.
so we'd say being sheets 6 through 12, or,
Well, or put it in parentheses if you want.
okay.
I like practice.
And do we need a copy of the site plan decision? We're gonna get that separately.
Yeah, that's separate.
No more loose ends.
The acres?
Yeah.
Yep. And I put that in the
The
other
other
thing
side.
too, yeah.
Site as needed. Okay, a question for you. Number 21, on page 8. Full investment, dirt out onto the roads. At one point, one of the things said something about sweeping. Now it just says, steps to control dust and including but not limited to watering by truck of the access road if the site is needed. I know Woburn, Waltham, Newton, I work up there a lot, they make us put daily, as required, daily if necessary, something to that effect.
Somewhere I saw sweeping
One of the.
in one of the other documents.
Right, that's gone by the wayside, so.
It is?
Well, this one it is. I believe number 21 is not there. all reasonable steps to control dust. 13, hang on, I'll be back.
Oh, I'm looking at 15.
People live up the side. What have we ever done about artifacts or bones? Have we ever had that?
Rick, what's your address?
Doesn't give it.
Me too.
13 of the site plan is at
So if
15
you look at
acres.
page, like page 7, number
Yep.
15.
Yeah, I know I read it somewhere about kept clean and sweeping.
All right, well, there's what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
So what happened, and that's why I was asking Dave, like, you know, with like, because this will wind up being like a conservation type thing, that's who gets us in blue now. So, shall we mechanical and hand sweeping on a regular basis? At the end of each work week, they point, shall inspect page,
They'll-
make sure
oh,
that they
they-
have
oh,
clean
yeah.
fully
Oh,
on
yeah,
the
there's
site.
certain ways you have to
So they
label
can leave
that
a mess
stuff.
there
You
all
can't
week
just,
long. That's why I say
you can't
daily
play with
or
that.
something like that.
No, I was just wondering.
Yeah, that's what the
I've never
board
seen it
wants
in a
to see.
document. What? That's not true.
We haven't seen that document yet.
No, we
I
have
know.
not.
And it's.
Change regular today.
Is that what the road commissioner
What are we
is
talking about now? What tribe?
My,
People okay with daily?
What?
People okay with below?
Listen, there's a special one.
Number 15,
I don't know, I
next.
think they're talking about that.
So our bones could be out there.
Mr. Chairman,
Just
number
make a
15 is all right with you?
What?
We change
No, it's
regular
included in the
to
National
daily?
Heritage. Honest to God, it's already covered. National Heritage protects all rights. Sure,
I'm going to.
but ask Mr. Rowley. I'm gonna ask him for
Yeah,
you.
okay.
Keep giving me the score. Mr. Rowley, can I ask a quick question about, during the excavation, if they find any artifacts or anything of that nature? National Heritage addresses all that, and there's certain processes in place, right? On what they need to do when they might.
Not sure it's natural heritage, but it's covered by state law. I want to say it's chapter 30, but I can't remember it verse for verse.
So what are they
But
gonna be doing?
it is a requirement under
What do they
state law.
want?
Very specific.
Yeah.
On process and how you must do it and notify.
Access road.
Right.
But I thought it was part of National Heritage, I thought that was part of that whole process that they're going through right now, that we haven't seen yet.
No,
No.
that's just for endangered species and so forth.
Oh, that doesn't have to do with, historical artifacts or
I
anything like
didn't
that?
think so.
Oh, I thought it did.
That's the archaeological.
They call steps including watering daily. You don't want that.
Yeah, so it's a relationship that needs to be considered if they're gonna start digging out there.
Including but not limited to water by truck on the access road.
Talk to Mr. Rowley, because he's gonna be on the site.
Yeah.
Oh,
He was representing the town during the process.
well, we got sweeping, don't we, already?
I don't know, for the trash.
Hmm?
He's been down there and done the trash.
Oh, yeah.
He wants to know.
Yeah.
In the power lines for West Wareham,
Hmm.
they had a guy from archaeological
Mm-hmm.
state,
All right.
and he had somebody from the tribe, and he's boring the holes from the telephone poles.
Yep.
Lost the focus.
Yeah, we-
People on the
And over
other
it,
end.
and
What
watch.
are we missing, what are we up to, what are you discussing?
We're talking about historical artifacts and things of that nature. But that's why I asked Mr. Rowley. He said it's covered by Article 30 of the Mass State Law.
But we're talking,
We have, because of where we're located, we have some concerns about that. The historical findings.
we're on number 21 of the conditions.
Yep.
Somebody to my left, and I won't mention John by name, thinks we should add sweeping
Okay.
and
Including but not limited to watering by truck of the access road and the site as needed.
Mm-hmm.
Is that sweeping by hand? Didn't I read that?
Both
Again, you
mechanical
go
and
back
by
to
hand.
the other condition,
Yeah.
back a little ways, you got mechanical and hand sweeping,
Yeah.
so. You got it in there enough that some authority can go down there and tell them to clean the road. Because I promise you, as I do it for a living, the site business is my family.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to clean the tires of that truck every time you pull off the
Right.
site. You're gonna just keep going. So if there's nothing in there that, like Woburn, they send the conservation lady comes down every day, and she stands there and watches you. You gotta wash every truck before it pulls out on the road.
Don't a lot of construction sites build the pools? The truck drives right through the pool?
Oh, really? Okay.
So they're coming out of Bay Point out onto the main road,
Mm-hmm.
and you just don't wanna have it a mess. Please
don't do
No,
So
they're exempt.
I have a little problem with the language here,
Just add the word sweeping after limited to at the end of that first line.
sweeping, but not limited to
Sweeping
sweeping
and watering by truck,
and watering by truck.
and the access road and the site is needed.
Okay, all right, I thought we were trying to do something daily.
Well, you did that.
You've got it in 15.
All right, good.
So now, Charlie, question for you.
Yep.
Number 27.
Yep.
So,
I think it should be struck.
you do. That's,
Got it in the conditions of the site plan.
that's why I'm asking. So we don't need to put that in the subdivision.
In my opinion, you don't.
All right. So
D.
you guys agree with that? Mike,
I'm
Michelle?
sorry?
Yep.
Number 27 should come out?
Should be removed.
Unless they change the lot lines, but they're gonna do that by
Right.
Form A plan anyway.
They shouldn't be, not unless they come back to you with a,
Well, they have to,
no, they don't.
if they change the lot lines in a single family.
Unless they have a reason for changing the lot lines, they're gonna stay as they are in the approved plan.
Yeah, but if they change them, they'd have to come back.
Yeah,
Well,
they do
that's
that
a
under,
new subdivision.
you do that under a Form A, and
Under a
then you'd
Form
have
A.
to make a determination as to whether or not it's a significant change under the site plan review.
Is it any lot line, Mr. Rowley, or is it multi?
Sure.
The reason I'm-
Anytime you change the lot line, even if it's on, you may change the lot line on an approved plan. Anytime after the plan is approved, and is approval not required, so long as it's a part of that original configuration, you're not changing the street lines. In this particular case, it's tied to the site plan approval and the special permit.
Right.
So you might be able to bring in a Form A plan to change a lot line for one reason or another. Maybe they decide that they needed a little bit more room for the setback or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, that comes in under a Form A plan to change the lot line under subdivision control. But then you have to make a determination at the same time that it's not a substantial change to the site plan. And that's just a decision that you can vote on. There's no public hearing involved unless you feel that it's substantial enough
Significant enough.
to change the whole
Right.
intent of the site.
Right.
So if 27's gone, we're gonna make 28, 27 then, right?
Is it gone in its entirety?
You said we're gonna strike it.
Is that true?
Striking the whole thing?
Striking all of number 27?
27,
So 28's gonna become 27.
Okay,
28 will become number 27.
Okay.
These words in there.
okay.
So, and
Do
then,
we need any of the other sections on the special?
Submitted and approved to who? By who? 28. Submitted and approved by who?
By the planning board? And then, okay.
By planning
How
board?
did, how did you write that up in the special permit? It ought to be the same thing if you're going to include it here.
I don't know if that's in the special
I
permit.
believe it is. It's one of the last things.
number 36, what we said it was gonna be number 28 of the subdivision, so it needs to be worded the same. So it'll be by the planning board, Charlie, will it not?
We were gonna add that.
Uh,
Yeah, we were gonna amend 28.
To mimic 36?
Number 36 of the site plan will now be number 27, not 28.
Right,
And it should be by planning board at the end of it.
yeah.
So 28 is gonna shift over to the special permit and come out of this?
No,
No,
You're gonna want it in both?
yes. So it'll be number 36 in the site plan, and it'll be number 27 in the subdivision.
Okay.
Okay.
So now these last things that I have on my sheet, Mr. Chairman, are these just questions, or are these,
Questions I had.
so are the roads to remain private, yes?
We don't need to say anything about that, we're just leaving.
I think
Okay.
they know it's private.
Well, no, I think it should be stated,
Put it right in there.
although I don't think you can you differentiate?
Well, they are private until somebody files a request to make it a public way.
And I think legally that's the only, there's only accepted, unaccepted.
Right.
Right now, the roads in there are private,
Except for Cahoon Road.
well, except for Cahoon Road, but where the existing units are that swing off to the right, right?
Well, they're private, but they're open to the public, so they're unaccepted.
Yeah,
Yeah, but like I said, who plows it?
they'll be responsible so long as it's a private way, and it's a part of the, they're gonna have to do that as a part of their homeowners and all of that
So
stuff.
should we leave it as number 28, roads to remain private?
Only if you don't want them ever to petition the town to become a public way. Because they are private now, and they'll stay that way, so long as there's no petition and so long as the town doesn't accept them.
So we don't need that question as well.
Right. I think it's redundant myself.
So sections 30 to 35, the special permit be included. So what are you talking about, the conditions?
Yeah, I didn't know if any of those had to go in.
Can I ask a question
There it is, 35.
about security? I mean, I know it's a private project and a private funded project, but if they get partially through this project and they've ripped up some of the public roads and we have a financial disaster in this country and they absolutely unable to continue, what are we putting in place to make sure that the roads get completed for bonding,
Right now,
financial
it's your
requirement?
covenant.
Say it again.
It's your covenant right now.
Yeah, but
And it's
suppose,
always at the option of the applicant. The covenant document says that you can't convey a lot except,
yeah, but I'm not worried about that. I'm saying before that, so they start their work, phase one is, they're working on the principal roads. We have
In order to
we
start
have,
phase one, they would have to exchange that covenant for another type of surety.
that's what I'm asking about. What type of surety are we gonna
only if
get?
they're gonna, well, once they go to apply for building permits, they've either got to build the road completely first and then request a release of the lots.
Right.
Or post security in an amount which is acceptable to the board in exchange for a release of certain lots.
You're not understanding my question. I don't care about the lots. I
Well,
don't care if
it's
they
a
ever
part
build a
of it. It's
house.
the way you control what's happening.
What I care about is they start the road work and they have financial difficulties and they never complete the road work. So now they've dug up Bay Point Drive, they've started to dig up Cahoon Road, and all of a sudden they can no longer complete the project. The bank has called in their loans, this country's in a financial disaster. What do we have in place to make sure those roads are completed? That's all I care about. Well, what I'm saying is, I want something.
I don't know that under the subdivision rules and regulations, you have that option yourself. That's an option which is left to the applicant, and I forget what section it is, but there are 3 or 4 different options which are available for the applicant to choose at his discretion. The covenant controls the fact that no lots can be built upon or conveyed until that road's
I
completed.
understand that,
Well, you're putting the lots up as surety.
but
No,
the reality is the lots have zero asset value if there's a financial disaster in this country.
Well,
So,
we won't be worried about the road. will we?
well, I would be, because there's neighbors up there that use that road.
Well, I
So,
I
let me ask you a
suppose
question,
there's
so when a,
suppose there's always that possibility, but I
when,
wouldn't think
when
that
we
anybody
approve,
would.
when we approve a small road and someone wants to build 10 house lots, we ask for surety. This is not different. They're just building 80 houses. This is not different.
No,
The process is the same, though.
My concern is that they start and they aren't able to finish, and certainly the town of Wareham can't afford to finish, and there may not be another developer that wants to pick up the project because there's no value.
You can't ask for both. You've got to, it's up to the applicant, it's his choice. It states that very clearly in the subdivision control law. It's not up to you, it's up to them as to which one they choose, because they can't get a lot release until that road is built. I understand your concern, I'm not saying I don't understand it, but under the subdivision rules and regulations, there's only 1 or 2 options they have.
And why would they
Road
have the
out
choice?
Completely, before you get any lot release at all, which doesn't make any sense,
Yeah, but
because they're gonna be
I-
spending a lot of money up.
Mr. Rowley, I don't understand, why would they have that choice and not the
Because that's the
town?
way the law's written.
I mean, I can see that.
I can show it to you if you
It's
want to
their
see it.
choice.
81
And
U.
they can come in and they can make any change in that they want. For example, if they want to build the 4 buildings up on Cahoon Road,
Yeah.
they want to apply for permits,
Hmm.
they can't get a release on those lots until Cahoon Road and Bay Point Drive are finished. That's under the terms of the covenant.
Mhm.
But if they want to get permits in the meantime, and get some money back from depositors and so forth that are gonna buy a unit, they can secure the cost of that road construction by asking that you release those lots in exchange for security that you determine the amount of. They post it with the town treasurer, and it stays with the town treasurer until the inspections are done that say the roads are complete. Then they get the money back. That's the process by which you do the subdivision construction.
Mhm.
And that's just commonplace, it happens all the time. And anybody that's worth his salt is gonna start something with some backing. And he'd be foolish to build a road and not have something available where he could get some return by selling a lot or selling a building.
Same thing, remember the little builder down there on Hathaway?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, he's.
Three-party
He
agreement?
couldn't build a house till he finished the road,
Mm.
it's the same thing.
And if they walk.
He cried like a girl, no offense, but he did it.
No, he can't, he didn't, he used the tri-party agreement for that.
Well,
You could do a tri-party
it was a
agreement, but
battle, but he
Yeah.
put the road in before.
Yeah.
before he-
Okay. All right.
All right, so I'm gonna go back for one moment. This is the language in our subdivision regulations, and maybe you can figure it out. Subdividers shall retain title to the fee of each street, path, or easement, and are part of the subdivision until conveyed to the town for at least 3 years after completion of improvements, whichever is lesser. Notation that this is to be done shall be placed in the definitive plan. Provision may be waived by the planning board for subdivisions where the public interest is served by retention of private ways and means of securing retention and their maintenance have been agreed upon. Sounds that it's anticipated that after 3 years, the town's gonna take it. And they're gonna put up a bond for the 3-year period, and that's it. And I don't know if you wanna say anything or not. I mean, there is supposed to be something said, but. That's why I thought
Then
maybe.
a reference to a private way is,
Yeah, the intent behind that is really to make it easier in the event that the town does take it over, that you don't have to make a listing of each individual lot owner, because unless
Right.
the deed of conveyance makes an exception that the person who's selling the lot is retaining the fee ownership in the street, that ownership will go to the center of the way. So either Beacon Street or Starboard, for example, if nobody said anything and lot 68's conveyed, 68's gonna be conveyed together with the fee interest in the street, half of it in front of his lot.
Right.
That's what that's referring to.
Right.
And it just makes it easier in terms of who you have to notify that say you're making a taking against. I think that's what the intent of that was, just to make it easier in the case that they do decide to turn it over. But that's up to you as to what you want to do with it.
Well, I think they should keep title to the road. I don't know who's gonna keep it, though.
The developer will until such time, I believe, as the homeowners association takes it over. Then they become the owner of the road.
Right.
Okay. All right.
So do we need to have something about the private roads? We don't.
I think we should reference it as private. It's that,
Do they want it to stay private forever, or?
Well, that's a different question. I know that Mike has said that from time to time, that certain streets he wants to see maintained as private ways. You've
I
done that from
don't
time
think
to time.
there's anything that can prohibit them from attempting to get it accepted.
Right.
But I think we should state in the approval that these are private ways to satisfy the verbiage you just read.
So I'm gonna add that thing, they're gonna retain title to the roads for a minimum of 3 years, and the roads to remain private unless accepted by the town.
I think all you have to say is that Bay Point Drive, Beacon Street, and Starboard Drive are to remain in private ways in perpetuity.
Do we want them in perpetuity?
Well, that's the question. I assume you don't want them taken over as a town street.
Unless the homeowners association gets together and comes in and applies to have it become a public
Then
road.
you'd have to change the condition of your approval.
Yeah.
They'd have to come in here and seek change in the approval.
Well, okay, but I mean, it's a process that the homeowners association would be allowed to do. So, I
Sure.
mean, it's,
They'd have to come to you.
so you're keeping it, so you keep them private for now. The developer's gonna sell all these houses, whatever, and the homeowners association's gonna find out like those other neighbors.
We've had that,
They own the
yeah,
road,
we've,
And they're gonna come in and say.
Yeah,
"Town
which
should
is
own it."
what we've been
Well, I
working with.
think that's, when you buy something in this type of setup, you kind of assume the
Some places
private
are gonna
ways.
be a gated community forever. That's almost considered a gated community. I think it's gonna be a private road in perpetuity.
It's like a condo.
All right, well,
It's part of the
I'm
package.
with you either way.
You know, we've had some, we've done it both ways over the years. And some of them come in, and it's gonna be a gated community, and they said it's always gonna be private. And if you put it in perpetuity, boom, it takes out all the fluff.
All right, so the next question, should 30 through 35 be included in this? That would be, is that almost redundant?
I don't know, I just put it down because they were there.
And they elected to include one street, Bob. It was that little short subdivision, that little short
Jetty
Jetty
Lane,
Street.
you know.
Jetty Lane, yeah,
Jetty Lane,
yeah, include that in there.
So I would say no.
I don't see reference to the single-family sewer arrangement in the definitive plan. Am I missing that in the definitive document?
I didn't see it either.
Does it belong in there or strictly in site plan?
It should be reflected here as well as in the site plan review.
So number 29.
Same verbiage as the site plan. Did you take my paper? You sure?
Okay, so number 35 on the site plan, we're gonna add in. And the monuments, on the rear lot lines.
Yeah. Is there a document? There it is.
Find it.
So the question on the cul-de-sac then, does it need to be in this subdivision? It needs to be on the,
It's in the subdivision.
yeah.
Yeah, you took care of that under your waivers.
Is that it? Good?
Then the septic system for the single-family homes is being referenced somewhere?
It's number, that'll be
35.
number 29, it'll be listed as the same as 35 in the site plan.
So,
Okay.
the other question I had was whether or not we were gonna require the easement relocation approvals prior to the start of construction.
And that would reference this new pump station and things of that nature?
Well, they're moving on the water lines that are on there.
You've said that they have to take all legal steps as well as the other steps to get the approval from the onset fire district. That's in your special permit.
So,
See if I can find it.
But how does that apply, Mr. Rowley, to easements where if the applicant accepts the update on the septic system single pumping station?
All that really does is change the kind of piping that will be in Beacon Street and Starboard.
But it also means that they're gonna have to put a pump station somewhere.
That's correct.
And they're gonna have to file for a different easement for that.
They would have to come back with a plan for that.
Right.
That's a requirement.
That's what I'm asking. Is it covered?
Right.
And number 16 on the special permit was the water line. They moving any other easements or anybody else?
The force main and the water.
Yeah.
And that's the sewer department. I don't know if we had that approval in there.
Well, they've approved the connection to,
Yeah, but the sewer pipes will be moved with that single station,
The
pumping
the sewer
station.
department doesn't need to
That's a whole
approve the
different
relocation.
configuration.
they've approved the capacity of the water.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they don't need to approve the relocation?
No, because it's not their line, it's a private line.
Well, number 18 covers all that, right?
Which one? Yeah, that's the one on the water.
Is there similar language in reference to sewer?
Apparently, we don't need the sewer department to approve a change in the location of the sewer line because it's a private line.
How does that affect where they may need to
They may
change
have-
that so that this
They may have their
easements?
own rules and regs regarding inspection and
Yeah, but I'm worried about, easements through the lots and things of that nature.
Only easement they're gonna have is the easement, where they connect into the main line. They're gonna come back with that plan, because they know where the pumping station's gonna go.
Okay, all right.
Yes, go ahead. Two down. Good go.
Covenant?
So Dave, this covenant form that's in my, I printed this, I was in my folder as well.
Yes.
This is from the applicant.
16th, you agree, the same one,
Yeah,
on the same page.
yeah.
Dated 23rd?
Yes.
Huh? No, no.
Holmes decided to show me the same two missed calls.
If we don't have the authority to request surety, why do they reference it in this document without requiring performance bond? Almost like it's a question that we might have the authority to require a performance bond.
Where are you? Where are you?
Last paragraph,
Which paragraph?
first page.
Right here, Bob,
In consideration.
two-thirds of the way down.
It's referred twice,
Yeah,
here and here.
You can't under the statute.
say it again?
You can't under the statute.
This is in exchange for the performance bond that you would get if you weren't gonna have the covenant.
Yeah, but the covenant is just a piece of paper that's worthless at the time of a financial catastrophe. Why would I want to accept this? I don't want to accept this.
then post security in sufficient amount to cover the construction of the roads. That's what a covenant is protecting.
Okay, so I have zero interest in this document, so I want surety. I want some
It's
type,
not your choice,
that's my question. I don't understand why it's not.
because it's in the state statute.
But aren't we here to protect
You
the
can't
people of
change
the
the
town?
state statute, Mike.
What that
So why are you
says right
shaking
now
yes,
is,
and yet we have no authority? Are we not here to protect the town and the people in the town and,
To the
You
best of
can't
our
change
legal
what the state
ability.
statute
say it
says.
again?
To the best of our legal ability, which doesn't include.
Doesn't include the money.
it says exactly what we're doing, is we're approving a plan, we're not allowing any
What
construction.
I'm saying is,
We're approving a plan at this point without a bond.
right,
In order for them to construct any housing, this bond would have, the covenant would have to be replaced by a bond of some sort.
please, I'm sure. I understand that, but like I said, my
But
concern,
that's what that paragraph is.
right,
Let me just read to you, section 81U of subdivision control. Before endorsement of its approval of a plan, the planning board shall require that the construction of ways and the installation of services be secured by one, or in part by one, and in part by another of the methods described in the following clauses 1, 2, 3, and 4. Which method or combination of methods may be selected and from time to time varied by the applicant. So it's not your choice, it's his. The first one is a proper bond. Second one is a deposit of money or negotiable securities. The third is a covenant. And the fourth one is an agreement that basically is between the planning board, the applicant, and the bank.
a tri-party agreement.
Correct. And those things can be chosen by the applicant as to which way he proposes to secure the construction of the streets. That's state law, so.
That's a bad law.
These are bad laws too. How did you put that, Mr. Reed?
Pardon?
How did you put that phrase?
We're here to protect the public.
Oh, well, they're not gonna wait and finish all of the roads and do everything before they wanna start selling something. So then they have to come back to you, and then it's time to negotiate. They're not entitled to say, we'll put in 100 feet, and then you have to give us those lots. They can't do that. So,
Well, they can ask.
Well, they can come back and renegotiate it any time.
They can,
again,
but let's suppose they want to start the units that are the furthest up on Cahoon Street. How do you get there? From Onset Avenue all the way up onto and including Cahoon Street, right? So the construction from Onset Avenue to the far end of that lot
Has to be.
gets
right.
secured in exchange for the release of that lot for building those 4 units. And you determine the amount. The proper way to do it is to have them provide you with a construction estimate, itemized construction estimate, and the amount can be varied by you or not varied, but determined by you. Typically, what I've seen done is you take that amount, you add 50% to it, and you say, okay, that's the amount that you've got to secure with the town. And that covers the length of time that it may take for the escalation of costs and so forth, because in the event of a default, and you get to use that money to build it, you're probably gonna have to pay prevailing wages, which means that the cost goes up.
We
So you
went
get a
through
little
that,
bit more.
10 years ago in a subdivision, when the price of oil went out of sight.
Yeah.
I think what we had in there for a bond, and when they finally got down to build the road, it was out of sight, it was like
Yeah.
double.
Yeah.
Double.
Okay.
But that's his choice. He can come back and change that if he wants to.
They're gonna be sitting there many more times before this gets done.
Okay.
Or maybe the attorney, if they sell it, who knows?
So insurance too long, right, that's what it is.
I sold surety bond.
Yeah, I know.
What do we stand, what do we do with these 2 documents?
I changed the rules if we could accept the bond.
Bob, did you add this language here?
I did.
Okay, could you explain that? I don't understand what you're trying to get at with it.
Well, under the, for the covenant, the bank has to agree that the land is subject to the covenant, and that, so if they come in and they can foreclose on it, but they can't build. They can convey, but they, by the foreclosure, but they can't build on it. So, but this says that this covenant is ahead of the mortgage, just as if it already existed on the title before they did the mortgage.
I'm not sure why you say they can't build on it. If they took over and they sold it to some other entity, they would be subject to that same covenant.
Just that they can't build without satisfying the covenant. That's right.
So they have to live by the same.
They have to live by it, that's
Yeah.
right. But you prohibit the sale or building in this and this section says it's just subordinate, so you're subject to the terms of the covenant. The bank agrees that they're going to comply with the terms of the covenant. And then at the end of section 2, I think it says, they can take title to it. And they can sell a lot, but it's subject to, it remains subject to the covenant. So they can do a foreclosure sale.
We had a bank take over a project, I don't know, maybe it was zoning, Mr. Chairman, but the bank wound up coming in and trying to change conditions and stuff like that because of the wording, they couldn't.
Rose Point?
Special, it might have been. Is that
Rose Point?
Yeah.
I think it was 3 different banks that were involved.
That's right. They
Bank
wanted to
sold to
change
another
all the
bank,
conditions
another
and-
bank.
What is the
French Ave.
time allotted between the vote and the filing of the decision?
As soon as possible.
There's
You've
no-
got until the 29th if we go by everything that's come before the board before now.
Well, did you read the responses from town council?
I saw David's email where he had conversation with town council.
I didn't see the,
What was
Response.
the results of that?
It seemed prudent to do that and get it done. You've got plenty of time on the site plan approval.
Yeah, the site plan part of it, I'm not worried about, but that's why I just said to Mr. Chairman, where do we stand? The documents look pretty good.
Yeah.
If the subdivision one is acceptable to everybody, we just get a clean copy, let's just sign the thing and get it stamped.
I'll go by and sign.
You know what I mean? We just, the town hall closed Fridays.
Yeah.
So,
It's also-
maybe if you can print us a clean copy there,
Is it not true that we only have 6 days anyways? Today's the 23rd, don't we have just?
So, first of all, he can't just eliminate the waiver.
I understand.
And secondly, when he eliminates the extension and records it, assuming that's valid, he can go in and record that, then the time for you to file was before he recorded it. There's no 20-day period. The 20 days is his after
20-day
you
period
file.
starts when we
So-
file the plan, when
Oh,
the plan
okay.
is recorded.
Okay.
The town
So
clerk.
there's no, the time for you to file it is gone when he recorded it.
Okay.
He has 20 days after the time he recorded that, which would be 20 days from
Okay.
the 12th.
No, I was just
Whatever
wondering if
day
there
was
was,
he recorded.
I remember in the past, we've requested X amount of days between the vote and the time that the finished document actually makes it to the town clerk's office.
I don't remember if there's a time period or not.
This was a while back.
Yeah, but I guess,
It may not,
I guess what
there
I'm
may
asking.
be language in our site plan that says it will be filed within a certain time.
The only thing I'd suggest, George, is that you get at least 3 copies with original signatures.
Mm-hmm.
One goes to town clerk, we want one for your file, and Mr. Cirque needs to get an original to get recorded. So be sure that you print up enough that you can get those original documents.
So when will you want to see our faces for signatures?
But you have to vote on it first.
You need to vote on each one. You need to vote on the waivers, you need to vote on the overall approval of the definitive plan, and you need to vote on the covenant as well as the site plan.
Okay.
Let me just ask the question again then. where there was some controversy over the dates here. If the 29th is the so-called 20 days that was with the rescinding of the extension by the applicant, which again, for the record, I think was dirty pool. But needless to say, if that's the case, maybe we'll just pull ourselves right now. For the subdivision part of it, that's the part that we would be under the gun with.
Under scrutiny.
We're looking at it, I mean, it looks pretty good right now to me. We get a clean copy of that. Is there any reason why the 5 of us can't sign it by Thursday? And then,
By Wednesday.
By Wednesday.
Thanksgiving.
oh, geez, yeah, that's right. That's
By
right. I'm off
Wednesday.
Thursday.
That's why I was saying.
Coming Thursday. So if we get it Wednesday, and then they can stamp it Wednesday.
Mhm.
Right, Dave, you can have it stamped in down on there, so we don't have any problems if the paperwork sat somewhere for 2 weeks and they get a constructive grant. Because I'll tell you right now, that's what I don't wanna see.
Well,
Some legal mumbo jumbo and some dirty pool, from some shyster group come in here and pull a fast one.
I don't think there's anything.
I don't want that. I don't want any shyster groups in this town.
According to town council, when I spoke to him about this issue, he did not feel that any rescinding of the waiver was a legal action. He felt that there would be no problem defending any action that somebody would try to claim a constructive grant. Because he said the only way that rescinding the waiver would be legal is if this board voted to accept the rescinding of the waiver, which you haven't done. So that was his legal opinion on the matter.
Okay.
The rescission was not an issue, and that the board didn't have to hold any specific time frame of filing the decisions, but he did suggest that we should do it as quickly as we can do it.
Right.
But he said we're not bound to the 29th or any certain
Okay.
date like that.
Yeah, but it's done,
That's
let's
fine.
finish it
Get a
and
second
avoid any
Yeah,
unnecessary
I
litigation.
would like to,
Sure.
if you get the subdivision plan stamped in by the 29th, it's kinda hard for an attorney to fight his own letter, you know? So,
Dave, that conversation, was it a form of email or was it verbal?
That was just verbal over the phone.
Can you print something up and put something in the file to that nature? Because, a lot of things have been told to us and a lot of things get a little twisted around. At least it's in writing and it's in the record, if somebody wanted to
Yeah, I
research
can
it.
put a copy of the email that I sent to everybody, which basically outlines
Yep.
that whole thing.
I'm available to give my vote and to sign as soon as the board wishes.
The only thing to be conscious of as far as getting this stamped in at the clerk, people need to show up by a certain time of day, because if everybody comes late in the day, we have to make copies of documents, we want to make sure we have everything in order. So people should try to come in by a certain point in time,
What's your schedule?
hopefully by Tuesday afternoon, if that's, I don't know how quickly this cleanups.
That's tomorrow.
These documents can be done.
You said Tuesday afternoon?
That's tomorrow.
That's tomorrow.
By late Tuesday afternoon or early Wednesday morning, because like I said, we've got to get all this stuff wrapped up.
You're in the, you're in the
We're gonna
town
file
hall,
it on Wednesday.
you're in the town hall till 6 PM on Tuesday. Is that okay?
Yep.
I can do that.
Mary Ann's office is open until 6.
Well, you can do it Wednesday morning.
Right, I wouldn't be able to file it Tuesday, but I'd have to do it Wednesday, so they're open Wednesday. Point I'm making is if everybody shows up at 5:30 on Wednesday, it's not getting done,
Right.
so.
I can be there tomorrow.
Anyone care to make a motion?
copy, but
What?
Would anyone care to make a motion?
What about him?
I was asking if Linda can have a clean copy by tomorrow. His computer, Linda.
It's a long story.
I don't think I even want to know that story.
When you print off the computer, the copies he sent out, all the relations in the column, it's all by Linda. So I said, who's Linda, your secretary? He said, no, my computer, I named his computer.
No, I didn't name it.
Wow, Bob, you must sort of a sheltered life.
At 10 minutes to 10, it was 3 to 3.
Yeah, I know, probably see the answer.
It's 10 to 3.
So, Charlie, what's the best way for motions is we go with the.
Vote on your waivers first.
Waivers first.
You've got 4 or 5 waivers to vote on.
Individually or just as the group?
I would do it individually, you can just name them as you've written them out on the regulation, or on the definitive plan approval.
Where are they?
So somebody needs to move to allow the street layout of 40 feet from the required 50 feet as shown on the above plans, just the way it's written out in the
Okay.
document.
Well, we're not waiving this during the registered land section. We're not waiving that.
As shown on the plans. That's the way it shows 50 feet on the first part of it, and you're not doing that, but it says from 50 feet to 40 feet as shown on the plans.
Okay.
So I think you're all right.
All right. Mr. Chairman, for the first waiver, number 1.
Please be sure you're using the mics out, guys.
Sorry, Bob. Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to approve the first waiver. Number 1, street layout, 40 foot, less than the minimum otherwise required, 50 foot, as shown on the plans above.
Motion's made, is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mike Baptiste. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Unanimous. Item 2, do we have some special language we included on
Yes.
cul-de-sac?
You have that yellow page that Charlie gave you, right here.
Cul-de-sac size and configuration is shown on the above plans. Waiver for dimensions of proposed cul-de-sac approved with the condition that the security gate be located westerly so as to maximize the cul-de-sac pavement to a width of 30 feet at the narrowest point.
Second.
Motion was made and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? 500. Item 3, Cape Cod berm.
Make a motion, we grant the waiver for the use of Cape Cod berm in place of vertical curbing,
Should that also say as shown on the plan?
as shown on the plan.
Yes.
Motion's made, is there a second? Thanks, Mike. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Unanimous. Item 4.
Make a motion, we grant the waiver for road grades less than minimum otherwise required as shown on the above plans.
Second.
What was the "and" after that? Motion's been made
It's
and
just the
seconded.
number 5, just cross the end out.
Okay. Just discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Item 5.
Item 5, I make a motion, we approve the waiver for sidewalks on one side of roads only, as shown on plan.
Should that, I was gonna say, should you reference that they're 5 feet wide, Mr. Rowley, in this motion?
So long as it's as shown on the plans, it'll be depicted there.
Okay, thank you.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And did we strike that reference to Cahoon Road and put it somewhere else?
It's a condition.
Yeah.
It was made a condition.
Okay, that's the waivers.
Next thing you want to vote on would be the subdivision plan in general. And if I could suggest some wording that you vote that the motion be that the plans as depicted are in compliance with the subdivision rules and regulations as defined on the plans that are noted herein.
Well, I'll make that motion, Mr. Chairman.
Only if you can repeat it.
One more,
Just that you find that the plans are in compliance with the subdivision rules and regulations as shown.
And these dates are correct through November 9th? Plan dates.
yes, I think they are.
We have a motion, is there a second?
The plans,
What?
some are through October 14th.
October 19th and November 9th, I have here. Front.
Those are the meeting dates. The plans through September 25th and October 14th.
Yes.
They're two different.
I'm sorry, where are you, what page are you on?
Page 2, number
Could we
10.
Now,
mention
those dates don't line up with the dates on the plans.
Right, so,
Could we mention in the motion to
Front
confirm?
page has a different
dates?
date. If you look at the front page.
Right.
September 28th, October 19th, November 9th.
Those are hearing dates, right?
Those are hearing dates.
Yeah, okay,
Just look at what's on the front page of the plans.
you're right. Need to read the whole thing.
Hmm.
Doesn't it say September 3rd on the plans?
This one?
Look on the front page.
Revised
Yeah, it says on the plan, yeah.
Yeah, we
9/3.
got September 3rd on there.
in October 14th.
October 14th.
so the plan's dated September 3rd and October 14th. In general,
Revised
meet,
as of-
Revised as of October 14th.
revised as of October 14th. In general, meet the requirements of our, how did you word it, Charlie?
the subdivision rules and regulations.
Subdivision rules and regulations.
Something else. Didn't Charlie say something
We,
else after that?
we don't require them to comply with the special permit if it's granted. The special permit,
Not under this hearing, you do under the site plan approval. You need to
So,
vote on the conditions of approval of the subdivision plan,
In,
but you don't want to mix the two, you want to keep the vote separate.
so my motion was just that the plans revised through October 14th, in general, meet the requirements of our subdivision rules and regulations.
Yes.
All right, that was my motion.
You shouldn't include as conditioned by this approval.
I don't think it matters whether you do it as a part of that motion or you make it a separate motion.
Separate motion.
You could include it
Conditions.
together if you want, together with the conditions noted.
All right, so, as part of that motion, then I will, also include, Mr. Chairman, the 30 conditions, included.
Is there a second? Discussion.
well, you
Yep, if there's a
I
question.
keep raising this, but you're finding that this complies with the rules and regulations of the planning board, and it's supposed to have lots that comply, I thought, as a part of your rules and regulations. So if you don't have any lots, there are no approved lots out there, because there's no special permit, so,
The
well,
lots are as shown on the subdivision plan.
but we're,
Doesn't have to say it. You're approving the subdivision plan and the lots show on the plan.
but what if you don't approve of the lots?
Well, you-
And they don't have a permit to build
That's the
anything?
way it's done. When you approve a subdivision plan, you, by virtue of saying you approve the plan, you approve the lots shown on the plan.
So you're,
That's all a part of subdivision.
so you're backdooring, I mean,
You haven't got any legal lots out there at all, and now you're approving a plan and you're approving the lots. How can you do
Yes,
that?
that's a part of the procedure you've been going through since day one.
Yeah, but you're doing the subdivision approval before you approve a special permit that creates the
They go
lots.
hand in hand.
They do, it's,
Which
I
goes
can do,
first?
I can do the other, the chicken before I'll do the other one if you like first.
No.
Then you're still
You're
back to
approving the
this.
definitive plan which shows lots of specific sizes. That part has been done. Later on, when you do the site plan approval, you're basically approving the lot sizes, the dimensional setbacks and everything you've set forth in the conditions. This is strictly the subdivision plan itself that'll get recorded in the registry that shows lots 1 through 50, whatever it is for single family, and lots A and B.
And we're approving those lots.
Yes. As a subdivision plan. That's the only thing you're approving. You get to do the rest of it through the site plan.
Okay. So Mike, your question was on the 30, when I said 30 conditions,
Right,
so number 27, we crossed out.
right,
We made number 28, number 27.
correct.
Number 28 was the bit about the roads are to remain private. Number 29 was the sewer for the singles will be the same as number 35 on the site plan. And number 30 was the monuments on the rear lots.
Okay, that's right. I just wanted to make sure. I thought there might be
Okay.
31.
All right. So my motion, Mr. Chairman, just to probably beat it to death, was that the plans revised to October 14th and the conditions, meet our,
And the conditions set forth in this approval.
right, so meet the conditions for our rules and regulations.
Discussion? Dare I ask?
Dare I ask?
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Aye,
Opposed? Abstained?
Nay, yes, I am opposed.
okay.
You're opposed or you're
Yes.
abstaining?
No, I'm opposed.
So, four one.
Okay, and when I would look to the approval of the covenant. At this point.
Would this approval be worded in such a way that it includes changes as referenced in the form we're looking at? Mr. Chairman,
I'm just looking at them, I don't know how much,
if you want to look at this one, it's red.
yeah, I can see they're highlighted, they're underlined, so.
In the first paragraph of the covenant, you want to change the revised through from 9/25/15 to October 14. Fourth line down.
Mhm.
Two C, you're going to insert a date there.
Yeah, I was just, should we put Wednesday to be safe?
November 25th.
I'm sorry. What are we doing?
Same for the next paragraph, E.
We're not gonna do.
Yeah, we haven't
a
done that.
Special permit. Are we voting on the special permit tonight?
Now, who, let me read this again.
All the dates on the back page will be the 25th as well, right?
Did you insert C, Bob? Is that your,
Hmm?
is that, C, is that your,
Yes.
well, we could leave that date, no, we're voting on it. Is that redundant, or? Yeah, it does, you list all the terms and conditions, so I guess it's not.
Yeah, all the conditions are listed in the subdivision. We voted on the 30 conditions, so yeah, that'd be all right. See.
Are you talking on which now?
Should we,
Well, you're looking on the covenant here, the
Should we-
decision of definitive subdivision approval and the conditions of approval specified therein.
should we be approving the special permit first?
Well, that was his earlier question. I think
I mean, it's,
it's,
because it's referenced here that we have. So aren't we taking them out of order right now? I mean, is there a reason that we can't do the special permit?
You can do them either way. The only thing you're really approving by this, by the covenant and the definitive plan is basically the streets and the location of the lots. Everything else is subject to the site plan. So it really doesn't matter. They're going hand in hand. You can't have one without the other.
I'm just looking in terms of inserting a date in C. If you don't act on the site plan,
Right.
the document may not be ready by Wednesday, so if you wanted to put that date
Well, we,
out further.
Mr. Chairman, we've gone through the special permit conditions ad nauseam. Are we not ready to vote on that as well?
Can't hear you, John.
I say on,
Well, I think we're ready to vote, but I think as far as this document goes, I'm assuming that this has to be filed too, no? Or is it just the definitive plan approval?
I think you would want the covenant with it.
Is there a reason we should vote on other documents tonight when the
Well, the
only one
covenant-
that,
The covenant really doesn't take effect until after the plan is signed and is recorded in the registry. What's important is the decision gets filed with the town clerk.
Mm-hmm.
on the covenant?
Yeah,
So,
The
so-
decision that the definitive subdivision plan is approved.
let me check.
oh, we-
So your concern, Mr. Chairman,
discussion.
is if the covenant is it would need the date from the approval of the special permit.
If that has to be filed at the same time, then we need to insert a date, and we won't have the paperwork ready for that.
No,
It simply says in 81U that before endorsement of its approval of the plan. So if you file the decision with the town clerk on Wednesday.
The subdivision plan.
Right.
then there's a 20-day
There is a
appeal
20-day
period.
appeal period from the time that you file that with the town clerk, but they have to appeal the decision if they want to. You can't sign the plan for 20 days. So it says, before endorsement of its approval. In other words, you can't sign the linen or the Mylar plans to go to the registry for 20 days commencing with the next Wednesday. They have to provide that covenant. So the covenant has to get signed by not only you, but also them. So there is some time.
Okay. So the vote we took then was on the subdivision plan itself, and conditions, we're good. So as long as we get that signed between tomorrow and Wednesday and stamped in, Dave, right? Wednesday? Okay.
And that will give us till the next meeting to think about the other documents and make sure they're the way we want them and
Sure.
not rush through anything. And Mr. Reed, I see puzzlement on your face. Is there something that we're missing?
No, I'm just gonna, no,
What?
no,
No, I know what.
nothing. I'm gonna go home and start looking.
Yeah, I can get a Christmas card from
We're off the list, Mike.
They cost money. He wouldn't send one.
Do you wish to vote on the site plan and special permit approval?
I'd just as soon wait till our next meeting. Give us some time to review these documents one more time, see what we can put together. Since those don't seem to be time sensitive.
No, that's a 90-day, we got time. That one was 90 days, we have time on that one. The one that was the concern, that there seemed to be the legal nastiness, was the subdivision, which we just voted on. So if we get that signed in the next 2 days and Dave gets it stamped in,
Bob, this is yours.
then we're safe. There's no concern, in my opinion.
Does everyone agree with that?
He's comfortable with that.
We don't have to do anything. We don't have to do anything on any of this.
I know.
Legal opinion. But we definitely don't have to do anything on any other documents.
Okay. Okay.
Motion's been made to adjourn. Is there a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Meeting adjourned at 10:30.
Okay, great.